A very good morning to one and all present here. I am Shiva with my co-host Hari, and we are delighted to welcome you all to Abhyuday, Inspiring Today, Igniting Tomorrow. It is the first ever business conclave of PGTEX VLFM at our esteemed Indian Institute of Management, Mumbai. Rooted in Sanskrit, Abhyuday translates to rise or ascend, symbolizing the upward trajectory we envision for our country. This encapsulates the essence of our conclave, emphasizing a collective journey towards success and development in the business world. The idea of Abhyuday is to bring together thought leaders who can engage in meaningful dialogues about real-world business scenarios and bring thought-provoking discussions to the table. As we live in a VUCA world, we at IIM Mumbai aim to explore how India can contribute to its ongoing growth in the manufacturing sector and harness the power of Atmanirbhar Bharat.
The conclave has been articulated by the 6th batch of VLFM, Visionary Leaders for Manufacturing, under the guidance of our director, Professor Manoj K. Tiwari, and our program coordinators, Professor K.S. Ranjani and Professor Ravindra Gokhale. PGDX VLFM is a unique program with regard to build a pool of techno-manager leaders who can transform India's manufacturing sector. We are the 6th batch of VLFM who are moving towards a vision to contextualize and contribute to the global manufacturing renaissance. We are very grateful for your presence today as we embark on a day filled with enlightening discussions and captivating fireside chats.
Now we formally begin the proceedings for this momentous day by paying respect to the goddess of knowledge and wisdom, Ma Saraswati, with a Saraswati Vandana.
या कुन्देन्दु तुषारहारधवला या शुभ्रवस्त्रावृता या वीणावरदण्डमण्डितकरा या श्वेतपद्मासना या ब्रह्माच्युतशङ्करप्रभृतिभिर्देवै सदा वन्दिता सा मां पातु सरस्वती भगवती निःशेषजाड्यापहा. Thank you.
Thank you, Amruta. Proceeding further, we request our esteemed dignitaries to please come to the stage for lamp lighting. This age-old tradition of lighting the ceremonial lamp not only sets a glow to the physical flames, but also ignites the flames of wisdom and hope, serving as a guiding light towards a radiant future. Thank you, everyone. May I now request Professor Ravindra Gokhale, Co-Program Coordinator VLFM, to give a welcome note. Professor Ravindra Gokhale is Associate Professor at IIM Mumbai in the field of Operations and Supply Chain Management.
Good morning, everybody. It gives me a great pleasure to welcome all the guests for this first edition of Business Conclave, Abhyuday. So I welcome Mr. Rohit Pathak. I welcome Ms. Renu Bora. I welcome Mr. Rohit Mantri. So all the guests for taking their time out of the busy schedule. I welcome Professor Sudarshan Ghosh from IIT Delhi, who has come all the way for this conclave. I welcome our director, Professor Manoj Kumar Tiwari. Of course, he will be joining a bit later, so who has made this possible. I welcome all the deans, Professor V.P. Khanapuri, Professor Rauf Iqbal, and I welcome the faculty of IIM Mumbai, Professor Sanjeev Verma, Professor Milind Akarte, and Professor Ranjani. So thank you everybody.
Thank you, sir. We are very grateful to have here with us Professor Vivekanand Khanapuri, Dean, Sponsored Research and Industrial Consultancy. He has been part of the IIM Mumbai fraternity for close to 24 years now, wherein he served the institute at various capacities. He specializes in business and management consulting, project management, strategic planning, and IT consulting, among others. Now, may I request Dean, SRIC, to come onto the stage and give his opening remarks for the conclave.
Very good morning to all of you. थोड़ा एनर्जी रहना चाहिए, है ना? थोड़ा सा. See, we have guests who have started their day as early as probably 4 in the morning, and I see their energy levels as high as you hardly spent 10 minutes. So once again, let's start with this. A very good morning to all of you. Good morning, good, that's better. Good. While this event, when I look back and then see how this program got initiated, we started our journey about 2017, and we had a lot of iterations to go through, and that is where we had the first point at which we could see that, yes, we can launch this program. But what is the purpose of this program? And where do we want to position this? And that is where we said, this program is going to be unique. It's not going to be the same in terms of what others are offering. And our program, especially Visionary Leadership for Manufacturing, in collaboration with IIT Delhi, was seen as a very unique program to develop leaders in the space of digital manufacturing. And that is how the whole program is conceptualized and developed. Now, why I emphasize this particular point was, as we are looking at the changes, the way things are going forward, I think we cannot discount this fact and we cannot continue with what we were doing earlier. We are talking of Industry 4, we are talking of smart manufacturing, we are talking of robotics, we are talking of automation, and many others which are going to be playing a very critical role in the way industries are going to work. Along with that, we have got the role of analytics, we have got importance of looking at things in a holistic way. And what we have to look at now here is how our students are doing. So I just thought I will give this kind of context setting as a part of my opening remark, where our students are, where their strengths lie in, and how they are very well equipped to take those challenges of the industry ahead. Another interesting part which I would like to make a mention here is about this whole program, how it is looked at. There are three critical dimensions probably everyone has to work on, any organization works on. One is your processes and systems, which is the critical element which takes care of all the things which the organization transforms the inputs to outputs or the inputs requirements to the service deliveries. Everything is driven by processes and system. The other is in terms of how to look at the strategies or giving a top-down view. And that becomes a critical element. You have to look not only at the core operational level, but you also got to look at the tactical and the strategic level. And that is where every organization, when it sets the right kind of vision, mission, then it goes forward to set up those right strategies. Probably they are in a good way to take things forward. And the third element, which is one of the important aspects which we aspire or which we make our students to understand, is the kind of technologies which are making almost, they are becoming part and parcel of our life, and including what we see here across the industry, wherever we go, these kind of technologies are going to make a big impact. And hence, these three elements put together in the context of manufacturing, in the context of the industry, is what we look at, and that is what we try to deliver. So, as we stand here to hear the experts from the industry, their perspectives, probably where we started off, how we have moved on, they will give us much larger perspectives, better perspectives on what is happening in the industry, what should be done, how we should go forward. And we definitely are open to bringing in those changes, because change is the only thing which is constant in this world. And I'm sure the experts who have come here, first of all, I should thank them because they started very early, especially madam, I don't know, probably she has started very early in the morning, Delhi. Pune, right? So Pune is another 4 hours. Sir, तो हमारे पास में ही है, तो ठीक है. So anyway, beautiful campus, you all been enjoying, and I once again welcome you. We just gave you a glimpse of what our campus looks like. That is from the physical part of it. The intellectual part is all sitting here, the bright minds here. Probably they will throw some good, interesting questions as we go through this conclave. And I hope we have a very engaging and interesting discussions and come out with some meaningful analysis, understanding, so that it helps each one of us to contribute to the overall system. Thank you very much. Once again, a warm welcome to all of you.
Thank you so much, sir. Now, may I please request Professor Ravindra Gokhale to welcome Professor Khanapur Bouquet. So
without further ado, let's get started the first session of the day, Leadership in Times of Uncertainty. In a world that's always evolving, leaders who master navigating uncertainty with vision and adaptability are well prepared not just to survive but to thrive. They can effectively lead organizations through the complexities of the future.
we are pleased to have with us one such leader, Mr. Rohit Pathak, CEO Birla Copper, who has kindly consented to be the speaker for this session. Mr. Pathak completed his BE in Electrical and Electronics Engineering from BITS Pilani and his MBA from IIM Ahmedabad. He started his career as a consultant with McKinsey, where he worked for 10 years. Later, he joined the Aditya Birla Group as Principal Executive Assistant to the Group Chairman, Mr. K.M. Birla, looking after strategic planning and monitoring across group businesses. Post that, he took over as CEO of the group's insulator business, and in 2021, he assumed charge as CEO Birla Copper. He also served as President IEEMA for 2022-23. Given his diverse experience across consulting, advisory, and managerial roles, and having led large organizations and associations, Mr. Pathak loves to engage with talent and mentor them on career building and leadership. With a huge round of applause, let's welcome Mr. Pathak to the dais. Now, may I please request Professor Vivekanand Khanapuri to welcome Mr. Pathak with a bouquet. Thank you, sir.
Kindly take your seat, sir. We have here with us Professor Sanjeev Verma, who will be moderating this wonderful session. Professor Sanjeev Verma is presently working as Professor Marketing at IIM Mumbai. Professor Verma is an active researcher, and his papers have been published in top-tier international journals of repute like Technology Forecasting and Social Change, Psychology and Marketing. He has also provided consultancy services to more than 20 companies such as S.C. Johnson, Hinduja Hospital, IOCL, and several others. Okay. Thank you, Sandeep. Now may I request our moderator to commence this wonderful session.
So Rohit, welcome to IIM Mumbai, and it's my pleasure to moderate this session. The topic is really interesting, and I feel it's a very appropriate topic where so many global events are happening. It's the time of uncertainties. We have seen some wars, global conflicts, hassles, global competitions. Recently, I was reading one article in Financial Express which talks about copper role in any economy to make it globally competitive. China is really trying to expand. India is really growing very fast. And if we look at the role of copper in different sectors, say electrical vehicles, sustainable initiatives, the consumer durables, etc., it's very pivotal, you know. So this industry is really contributing, and you are leading such a wonderful company, Birla Copper. So thank you very much for accepting our invitation, and let us begin. So I was talking to my students, what question should I ask to Rohit? That may inspire you. So this is their session, and this is for them. So they have suggested some questions, and we may improvise as you move forward. Yeah. So as you know, for a company, you know, there are two aspects. One is the marketing language, we say internal marketing. So I'll start the discussion with internal marketing. The first question. You have a very extensive experience in the copper industry, and you are heading Birla Copper. So how do you navigate and lead your organization through global challenges in the present times?
Thanks, Prof. So, before I answer that, let me just reiterate a couple of ingoing thoughts I have on the industry, and then I'll answer your question. I think, one, for all of us here, this is probably the most exciting phase for the country, economically and even geopolitically and socially in the coming years. Right? I think this is the time for India. This is the time for clean energy, and this is the time hence for copper. One of the first few ages called as ages was copper age, many thousands of years ago. I think we are again getting back into that copper age where everything we touch and do is going to be
of this industry is going to be significant. I think the second important point is, if you look at China over the last 2 decades, obviously it has gone, it's scaled up like on a scale which very few countries have ever seen. India can do the same, maybe not as big, but at least to a very large extent in the next 20 years. And one of the key drivers for that is going to be that, last 20 years, China has had roughly 20 to 25% of the world's working age population. In the next 20 years, India will probably have 25 to 30% of the world's working age population. And that, to me, is something which, we don't realize on a day-to-day basis. But if you just sit back and see, that is given. It can't be changed now. You can maybe change the outcome after 20, 30 years, depending on how the birth rate moves. But next 20 years, it's a given. And how, as a country, we use that is going to be a very important, determinant of this thing. And hence, in that context, manufacturing will have to play a big role if we have to succeed as a country. You have so many people who are going to be wanting to work. And if you're not getting jobs for them and employing them proactively, you have lost a great opportunity and probably created more chaos than required. I think coming back to your question, I think leadership is, to me, in today's world, about being comfortable, being in the unknown world. Right? Very little of what you do is by the template. Right? Yes, you have learned everything. But there is I don't think as a CEO I make any decision which is a plain black or white decision. Most of them are grays, and you have to apply your judgment, your sense of what you think is right for the organization, for the country. And I think in that context, I think in copper, for example, last 2 years, one of the key things we've been trying to do is we have had a long-term, this is our 25th year, by the way, for Birla Copper. So we just launched a program called Tamroday. It was very similar to what you guys are doing for saying, look, it's a type of copper. And we are trying to now build on 3 things. One, how can we create the right products for India? Because we will need, copper will grow at least 3 to 4 times in the next 20 years in India. We need to be ready and support that growth. Second, how can we create a circular economy for copper, which is important. And third is how do we position India on the global scale. Today, India is almost equivalent in the global context of copper. In the next 15 years, we think as India, we should be number 2 in the world in copper. So I think that those are 3 areas that we are working on, and Birla Copper is playing a proactive role in that.
Fantastic. It is really delighting to know that India is really easing ahead, and maybe number 2 or number 1 sometime with all the efforts you people are making. Now, when we are preparing our organization to remain competitive and move ahead, in terms of numbers, we have certain internal challenges. We have to prepare the organization for that. So as a leader, can you share some instances at the organization level, what kind of initiatives we are doing to prepare our people, to take on the center stage of the world?
So, actually, I think the biggest program where I spend a fair bit of my time at the organization, actually, around 2 things. One is some of the growth projects we are doing. So, until about 3 years ago, we had only 1 plant at Birla Copper at the Dahej. Today, we have 3 operating locations and 2 new projects which are underway. So we are expanding significantly. That is one part of my journey. In addition to that, we are working on a few M&A situations where we are trying to see how the best technology to India. But the other big area which I spend a lot of time on is cultural change program which we are trying to drive. I think to me the big change at Hindalco we are trying to do is to make everyone contribute. So historically manufacturing has been a very hierarchical way of operation, right? It's a very top-down way of how we have organized ourselves, how we work. And we are trying to flip it around and say, look, I don't want just bodies to come to work. I want people to come to work with their bodies and reorganize ourselves and flip the pyramid to say, look, the front line is the one who's actually doing all the work. Right? And everyone else's role is to support them to do their work well. Versus everyone trying to just tell one person saying and everyone else just following right. So that's I think the big change. It's not easy. It takes a lot of effort, but I think if we get this going in the right way, we can actually do wonders at the plant. Manufacturing requires a lot more of innovation, a lot more of improvisation on the ground, but with safety as paramount. And we're trying to ignite that passion and engagement at the front line to drive that change.
Beautiful. So you talked about heart, mind, soul, and of course in the body. So we are making holistic interventions, at all the levels to bring the cultural change. But as we are expanding ourselves, so today morning we were talking that now we have 4 or 5 plants in India and we are further expanding. We need more leaders like you in the organization. So how do you ensure the leadership pipeline keeps on growing, more and more leaders are coming up, spurting in the company? So what kind of strategic interventions you are taking so that they can lead?
So, in Hindalco now, all of us as leaders and senior leadership have taken risks on people as one of the KRAs we wanted. Because unless we take a few bets on people who may not be ready, but we feel they have the intrinsics and we will support them, it is something that we are very actively working on. Not easy, I must say, because everyone typically ends up looking at saying, oh, how can I, this person is still not as good as me, is a very common thinking people have, right? And it's not ready yet for this role. But actually people bring in different aspects. So if I look at Hindalco, my R&D Satish, who's been there for 2 years now. 3 of his 4 direct reports of leading the businesses in India, and by the way, Novelis, which is our global operation. 4 of us out of the 5 business leaders are, in the 45 to 52 age group, right? He has taken bets on people. None of us were from the industry, and he's taken the bet on us. And if he can take the bet on us, we all also feel, we have to be able to take these bets on people. So I think one, taking risks and bets on people is important. The role that I have to play is around developing people around me and giving them the support to deliver. So we are doing very intensive coaching for most of our senior leaders. For some it is just personal coaching, right? Their talking style is just not right. That also counts as a leader. For some it is more functional coaching. So I think we are doing a lot of coaching. At Birla Copper we just started a program of mentoring where 25 of us from the organization across levels have decided to mentor 2 people who are not from our functions, from somewhere else. So we are doing this mentorship program at Birla Copper. We've launched something called Empower by Design. So we are consciously delegating a lot of our authorities, at least 1 level to 2 levels down, but enabling the teams to be able to take this calls back. So we are spending time on, so I for example spend time with my team or my direct reports to tell them on how I'm taking decisions and not giving them a decision. And then within 2-3 months that decision I revolve. Right? So that they know what is my thinking and then they are able to drive that. So I think the advantage of this is as I do more of this, the time I and my team has to do things around growth and other things, we can do a lot more for the organization.
Very nice, very nice. So when we are building the future leaders, empowering them, increasing their latitude, providing them a zone where they can take the risk. So the new people want to innovate. And these days, the technology plays a very important role. All of them, are surrounded by so many technologies. So innovation and technology is the characteristics of the present time business scenarios. So will you reflect on the innovation and technological advancement which we are doing in the copper industry, which is usually a traditional industry, so we have to maintain a balance. How can we infuse innovative nature along with technological imbibement to take the organization forward? What are we doing?
So look, to be honest, in general in manufacturing today, we are, I would say, hardly innovative, right, in the industry per se, right? It's a fact. We are still focused around copying what has been done somewhere else and bringing it here, and that's the phase by and large manufacturing is in. My friend Rohit is here. I think Tata Motors and some of the auto companies that I see are now getting into that zone where they are done with the copying and beginning to create stuff which others will follow, especially in the EV side. Some very bold moves are being taken, which is great to see. So I think in copper, similarly, we are at the moment, I think large part of what we do is still focused on the basics of getting whatever is happening outside to India. But I think we are trying to create that ecosystem to drive innovation. Not just at copper, but I'm saying even as EMA, which was the Electrical Manufacturing Association of the country, which I was heading, we're trying to bring in this change where, look, I think we have to think a little differently. I don't think we can do this all internally. But if we can create a platform for the startup ecosystem to plug into our organizations, we can drive innovation. So one of the things which we're trying to do is how do we put out some problems out there for institutes and for startups to look at and figure out ideas from there and give them space to come and experiment in our organizations. I think that to me is a faster way of driving innovation. At EMA, for example, just last year, this year, we ran the first ever startup competition for clean energy and energy efficiency solutions at a national level, where we had a very good participation. Some fantastic new ideas came up, and we are now trying to build how do we get investments for them, how some of our companies can adopt those ideas. So I think to me, internally it's still going to take some time, but I think if we can create this platform where people know what problems we're working on, there is enough brain power in the country, especially in the colleges too, where people will come up with some great solutions. So we're trying to create that platform for that plug-in to happen properly.
Very nice. So as Professor Khanapuri in the opening remark was talking about the new type of curricula being built, which is revolving around, say, data science, artificial intelligence, machine learning. So would you give some suggestion to these students how they can harvest those technological investments to really reap the benefit and take the industry forward? Can we think of some interventions in the copper industry, in your case, or say Birla Group, where we can, intervene and say, this is here, with these interventions, we can really reap forward through exponential growth?
No, so look, I think all these technologies are definitely beginning to play a role. Actively, we are thinking about how to deploy some of these. I think from a corporate to institute tie-up side, we have still not figured out the right model. I think one of the reasons why, let's say, if US has done well is because their academia industry connect has been very tight. In India, we are still in early stages. So we as ABG do give a lot of projects. We do get a lot of interns. But I think we are still not there on how do we really create those plug-and-play solutions, right? Where people can come, do something, 6 months. So for example, with BITS Pilani, we have, and Copper tried to do something a little different, where in the engineering course we have they have a 6-month internship which is mandatory, and half the batch does in first semester, half the batch does in second semester. So we have tried to club that internship with a research project given to faculty, to say, look, now you know, this is the project I would like you to work on. You have 5 or 6 students who are working on the internship in my campus. Work with them to give me a good solution over, you know, a year or year and a half, right? And I think that's a new model which we are trying to do to connect research and internships together. But I think, to be honest, early days, frankly, I don't think there's a easy answer which I know how to make it happen. Not easy, you know, when you come saying, because I also need, as an organization, my team at times doesn't have the bandwidth to spend time on projects, right? So I'm still spending a lot of time trying to free up bandwidth of my managers to say, guys, this work you don't need to do. Let your teams do it. You create your time to spend on things which are more value adding. So I think we'll get there, but to be honest, today we are not there yet.
Very nice. So taking a leaf from your previous answer, you mentioned about IMA. So you are the president of various associations, including the president of Indian Primary Copper Producers Association, IMA. So how do you collaborate with the industry peers to tackle the common challenges and foster growth in this sector?
So look, you know, so I joined IMA about 5-6 years ago, and when I was in the insulator business, which is a small part of the association and the industry. But I thought, you know, this being the parent association, I could contribute. I saw it was actually, as an association, it was just very political, with, you know, people trying to use association for their individual or their company benefit, right? And that was a challenge. But I also saw a few people who were trying to make or change this. So I think, you know, I said, look, this is something worth spending time on and trying to see if we can make a difference. I think over the last 3-4 years, we've been able to bring a lot more professionalism into the organization. One key thing that we, you know, started anchoring our discussion around was in everything that the association does, the order of priority of all our decisions was, is it good for India? Is it good for the industry at large? And then is it good for your specific division or no, right? And we removed this whole thought of this is something my company needs to be done, right? So I think that has taken some doing, but we are slowly getting there where people are thinking in these lines. It is tough because some companies lose interest on saying, look, I am here, I am spending my time because I want some advocacy to be done for my sector. So yes, you have a few dropouts like that, but I think on overall we are able to begin to drive that change where we are trying to create larger opportunity. And I think the one important thing which is going for us as India, which all of us have to realize, you know, we have still, we are in that mindset of we are fighting for a limited pie, right? Even whether you talk to campuses, when the moment the placements will come, you know, all the friends here will start saying, oh, I want this job, and, you know, I am, you know, you begin to compete, right? That's sort of the nature of stuff. But look, we are in a zone where the next 5-10 years we can see growth, which can be tremendous. Even in my company, by the way, you know, I'm trying to tell the same. Don't fight with each other. Don't try to say why you are better than someone else and you should get the next role, because there's enough roles that will get created. Right? So start thinking of creating growth opportunities and you will get growth. So I think that to me has been interesting. For me personally, working in the association has been a great learning experience, because working with peers where you have no formal authority was difficult. Because you have to rely on your ability to influence, ability to inspire, and I think it's worked well. And thankful to the industry association to you know, give me that opportunity to lead them.
Excellent. So, Rohit, you have worked with McKinsey Consulting Services, then joined Birla Group, led various units of Birla Group, now heading the Copper division, worked very closely as the executive associate with the top management. So when we make the transformative or strategic decisions which has a larger ramifications, say mergers and acquisitions, collaborations, expansions, diversifications. Please reflect on what kind of thoughts comes to your mind, what challenges, what opportunities, how do you make a decision in those scenarios?
So, I'll share two instances, I think, which are relevant. So, I remember when I was doing my MBA, in a second term, we had a course called finance, basic finance, or the first course of finance. After accounting, which was in the first term, second term, we had finance. And, being an engineer, accounting was a horrible experience to go through. It was like one course which I struggled with, and hence when the finance course came, we had to do it, so you had to do it, but I was very skeptical on how it will go. And then we have, the prof coming into the class the first day, and is a guy called Professor Korwar. So he starts out his, class with this statement. He says, look, guys, I've handled finances larger than the GDP of many countries, because he was the personal financial advisor to Ross Perot, who ran for US presidency many years ago, right? So he was, he has handled that. And he says, if there is one input I can give to all of you students, is that, all big decisions are taken on the golf course, and then people like you will be asked to come and explain why the decision is right. Right, so please get your understanding of what you're doing clear. So I think that to me was a very profound statement, which obviously I loved that course after that, and I learned golf immediately after I finished my MBA, and it, by the way, helped me in life for sure. I think the second one is when I was doing one of my annual feedback sessions with Mr. Birla. I was asking him what should I work on, and one of the inputs which he wrote down was, learn or improve your ability to connect the dots. And first time when I read it, I said, look, I have come from McKinsey, 10 years I've done consulting. That's what I do, right? That's what I've been trained for 10 years. But now, having worked in the operating side for several years, I realized the importance of that. I think, as a leader, you have to be able to figure out what's happening. Everything is not data, right? You have to have your perception overall that, yes, analytics and data is very important, but your ability to perceive what's happening is equally important. And frankly, that is what leadership is all about. You will go wrong at times on those, but that is what will make you unique, right? If everyone was to take decisions basis only the analytics, then we have AI as an answer for you as the next CEO, right? But that is not the right way to go. I think each of us, basis our experience and background, has a contribution to make. So I think to me, this is the second aspect of my key learning over the last few years, which is how do I connect different dots where I build my own perspective. And I think the third thing, which is very important and a very big unlearning for many of us, is how can you keep your mind clutter free. I think many leaders get stuck with overdose of information, and that is very dangerous. So you have to be able to have a clear head, especially if you have to take important decisions, and and have that clarity of thought. So I think clarity of thought versus over analytics is, I think, one important balance to get to, especially as you get into senior roles. So I think these three would be my key.
Very nice, very nice. So Rohit, I'm moving towards the last question from my side, then I'll open the floor to the audience to ask the question. So these days, there are certain important discussions or aspects which needs to be taken care by any corporate, and one of them is sustainability. So how do you imbibe sustainability in the operations of the company, or how do you support sustainability drive of the country?
At ABG, we have sort of I wouldn't say redefined, but we don't call it sustainability. We call it sustain-ability, right? The ability to sustain. So it is beyond just the greenwashing that people try and speak about, but I think to me this is about the broader ESG theme. It is not just about the environment, but also about a social license. It is also about your governance, and we hence focus a lot on all these three aspects as an organization. I think, and by the way, surprising, but, and I don't know whether some of you know, but Hindalco, we have a very large coal footprint because all our energy comes from coal in India today, a large part at least does still. But last 4 years, globally, in the metal sector, Hindalco has been the #1 ranked company on DJSI Sustainability Index. Okay, all global companies are behind, and we are ahead by a reasonably significant margin compared to our second competitor. And hence, I think if we do it with the right spirit, with the right space, I think we can make a big difference. And I think to me this is also an opportunity. So for us, for example, in copper, the next big investment we are doing is copper recycling. It may not reduce our CO2 footprint, because copper, even in the primary side, is a very energy efficient process, because it is exothermic reaction, so it creates energy versus use energy to a large extent. But I think it will create, we are trying to create the circular economy so we can efficiently reuse copper and bring it back with the right purity. We are all working towards zero liquid discharge, zero waste to landfill. In aluminium, we have cracked a problem which globally was not cracked so far, which is red mud, which is a residue of aluminium, which everyone is dumping into landfills and is 98% of the waste of aluminium. We have worked with the cement companies in India to make it as a raw material for cement. And today we are actually, all our waste from aluminium gets reused. Pretty much, right? So 98%. So we have reduced our waste generation by almost 98% in aluminium in the last few years by this work. So I think we are very actively working on these areas, on social and the license society. Also, as a group, we have always believed in that, and hence we continue to believe in saying we have to maintain our license to operate in the region that we are operating in by ensuring that the people around us are happier and better off after we came than we were before.
Beautiful, beautiful. So, as I was asking so many questions, maybe almost from all the important aspects of a business, I realized that he is an encyclopedia of knowledge. He has all the answers. So, no question is a difficult question. And one philosopher said, it's always better to learn from others than to commit the mistakes by yourself. So here is an opportunity, a very knowledgeable leader, transformational leader is with us. Now I'm opening the floor, for the question and answers. Please feel free to ask your questions to our esteemed guest. Your questions, please. Yes.
Hello sir, I'm Devanshi. Sir, I had a question that how did your experience at McKinsey help you make any important decisions at Hindalco?
So, I think McKinsey was great to get a quick and early, two things which I picked up from McKinsey. One is ability to understand an industry very quickly, right? There you were going into a new client where you had no clue of the industry, and within a week you had to pretty much understand the industry reasonably well, sometimes better than the client, right? And so that I think was a good expertise that you built and developed over the years. Second one was, you got a early insight into senior management thinking, because generally as consultants you were engaged with senior management a lot more and you got a perspective on how they are thinking, what are the key questions. So those two I think helped. I think what McKinsey didn't help at all was on ability to take decisions. Because in McKinsey you are giving advice, the decision has to be taken by someone else, right? And if the decision goes wrong, there are X number of reasons you can give them why that decision, they didn't do it right. When you start taking that decision yourself, that's, then the onus is on you. So I think that to me was the big learning as I got into operating roles, where you had to start taking decisions, and that and it took some time getting used to taking those decisions, being comfortable with some of them going wrong, being uneasy with did I do the right thing. Right, because all decisions are not 0-1 where you understand whether it's really gone wrong or whether it's gone or going great. Right, you still have to figure it out. Is it the right thing? So I think that was something which you have to get used to. But I think the important part is what I've learned, at least in the experience I've had, that if you do the right thing with the right intention for the company, right, even if it goes wrong, most companies will give you a second chance, right? So it's not if you've done your work well, you've taken the decision in the right interest of the company, it's okay. Some of it will go wrong, it's okay. Nothing will happen. So I always like to say, look, I will go and do what I think is right. That's why I've been given this job. I always keep my resignation letter in my pocket. If something goes bad, I'll go and find something else, right? So don't fear the wrong decision, but you have to take decisions.
Thank you, sir. That answers my
Really admiring. What an honest answer Rohit has given. Okay.
Hello, sir. My name is Vikrant, and my question is very simple, related to sustainability. It's a very general thought that we say sustainability comes with the extra cost always. So you said like Birla stands at first rank. So what was your approach in Birla, and what is your own thought on that sustainability versus extra cost, I would say?
So this is the classic example of how you do the analytics which can spoil decision making, right? Because the way you define cost can vary. If I, for example, say, because we do our CSR very well and honestly, whenever we go to a new site, so for example, we are building a new copper tube plant in Baroda for AC tubes which are made from copper. And we realized, or we were told very late, that this will require a full EC process with a public hearing X, Y, and Z. So we went ahead with that process. The project got a bit delayed. We just had the public hearing a month ago. All the villagers came, and we had more than 50% women who came into that public hearing. And everyone was, saying, please come and do this project here, right? Not one question on this is bad. Yes, there were expectations around give some jobs to locals and all that, but overall very, very welcoming. Now, how do you put a cost to that, right? There are enough examples in India where you would find companies going and bulldozing, their way through, and project will get delayed by years because you don't get the local support, right? There is a big cost to that. Now, if you just take that cost, the amount you spend on CSR is very, very low, right? On sustainability, similarly, right? I think in copper, for example, it's one of the most corrosive processes you can think of in metal industry. When we treat copper concentrates, we are dealing with almost 40 different elements of the periodic table, right? Which you have to treat in different ways. We didn't do a good job over some years on maintaining the plant around some of the environmental issues. So, but 3-4 years ago we said, look, this is not done. We have to invest behind it, and we over the last 4 years have spent over 1,000 crores on working on structural improvements in the plant, environmental improvements in the plant. And, 1,000 crores sounds like a big amount. But if I just look at the impact of it in the last 2 years, I've had a much higher production because of this investment I've done, and a lot more reliable operations compared to whatever I've had in the last 20 years of my operation. Right? So I think it pays off for sure. The question is, at what horizon are you looking at that payback in, and how are you quantifying that payback? That is where most companies go wrong. I'm not a big fan of the stock market. I think it is forcing companies to think very short term. In 3 months, either you make a difference or, you change. While some of that pressure is good, but it is not the right approach. I think one of the reasons why a Tata's or a Birla's has broadly been able to build businesses in the way they have is because, we have a longer term view of saying, we will weather the storm if things go, profits are slightly lower for a couple of quarters, but we know in the long run it is right for the company.
One last question. Yeah, anybody can take.
Sir, my name is Sumit Walunj, and I would like to ask you a question that, everybody from my colleague, they will be facing a leadership role in the coming times. And certainly there would be an uncertainty. So what mantra you will be giving to the upcoming leaders that, to face such adversarial condition or uncertainty, what we will be doing? Thank you.
So 2 things, I think one is, look, life will always be full of challenges. Okay? So sometimes we live in this false notion that once I do this, life will be great. Okay? There is no such thing. Life is what you make of it every day. And hence, stop, invest in building your skills, building your capability, and then just experience life. Don't fight it. Right? Same with careers. There will be problems. You can think of an opportunity. I've always believed a lot of my growth has come by taking roles which very of my friends didn't want to take. If I look at from McKinsey, of all the people left, I'm one of the very few who's gone into manufacturing. Most of the others have gone into investment banking, private equity, X, Y, and Z, where they make tons more money than I would, right? It's a different life. But I think the impact I'm able to create is significantly higher, and I'm happy with this. I don't compare myself with them. So I think, you have to see what really drives you and just go on with it. Problems will come, they will also go. So that's, I think, one. Second, as a CEO, I've at least in my mind tried to change the definition of how I look at the CEO role, and I've shared it in a few things. So I'll just for your benefit I'll again say, normally people look for CEO role as the chief executive role where you have all the power, right? And that's what people gear up for. And actually, when you hence get up into the CEO role, you end up pretty much messing with that opportunity with how you operate. The way I see this role is, CEO is Chief Engagement Officer, right? You have to engage with everyone. If I have 4,000 people working in my copper business, all those 4,000 minds have to work to help the business, right? It is the Chief Enablement Officer. My job is to help others to perform. I can't do everything. They have to do it, right? So am I creating an environment where people are enabled to do their work best, right? That's my key role. And the third is, in today's world, even more important is, it is Chief Empathy Officer, right? You have to understand what your team is going through. Everyone will have their bad days. If you support them that time, they will remain committed to you for the rest of their life. So, at least my style of leadership is not put pressure on the team. Yes, sometimes you need to put a little bit of pressure and this thing. But that never really works, right? Because it makes people do mistakes. And pressure only works if you think the team is or someone is being lazy, right? On no other situation, pressure will work, right? So hence, I focus more on, am I able to create passion in that person, right? And not put pressure on the person. So that, I think that shift is something which I feel very strongly in. And so far it's worked well for me, so I continue to focus on that.
Amazing new definitions of CEOs we learned today. CEO is not only Chief Executive Officer, CEO is Chief Empathy Officer, Chief Engagement Officers, and I will add Chief Experience Officer. So I can see still the glued eyes, the inquisitiveness in their mind. They want more questions, but sorry, because of paucity of time, we have to stop here. You can share your questions. Possibly we can forward to sir. He may revert back to you on your questions. So before we close, thank you so much, Rohit, for a wonderful session. It was really insightful. Have a round of applause for Rohit, for a scintillating experience, scintillating session. Thank you so much.
So please take it. Thank you, sir, for this enlightening and insightful session. Your emphasis on strategic interventions, intrinsic qualities, and one-on-one mentorship is a valuable insight for the upcoming leaders. Also, your mantra that it's okay to fail, but it's important that you bounce back with more vigor is definitely going to stay with all of us here. Now, I would like to request our program coordinator, Professor K.S. Ranjani, to felicitate our speaker, Mr. Pathak, with a memento. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you all for making this session wonderful, insightful questions. Thank you so much.
Now I would request my batchmate Akshay to felicitate our moderator with a token of thanks.
In fact, I should thank you for a wonderful opportunity. I have really enjoyed it.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Akshay. Thank you, everyone. Let's break for tea and we'll resume the next session in 10 minutes.
Wait, Shiva, I have an announcement to make. We have a special surprise waiting for you all at the end of the next session. So stay tuned and see you all after the break. Also, I request fellow students to stay back and let the guests leave.
Fellow students, please stay back and let the guests leave. Sir, can we please have one group photo?
Can you just move one step behind, so? Okay, just run to camera. Yes, here, please. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. We can. Wait, let them be.
I would like to mention that attendance will be taken after the event completion. So please make sure and use this opportunity as much as you can.
Have tea and come back.
Welcome back, everyone. We hope the tea was good and the josh is high. It's time we move on to the next session. For this session, we have here with us Associate Dean, Planning and Coordination, Professor Priyanka Verma. Professor Priyanka has over 11 years of experience in teaching, research, and consulting in the areas of operations and supply chain management. Please join me in extending a warm welcome to Professor Priyanka Verma. I request you, ma'am, to please come to the stage and give opening remarks for this session.
Thank you, Shiva. Good morning, everyone. Good to see everyone sitting on Saturday and actually waiting to hear some knowledge and trying to get the knowledge from the leaders of different fields. This is indeed a very good opportunity for all of us over here. And I must appreciate this current batch of VLFM who has started this event named as Abhyuday. Reason being, this is something which I think we were trying a lot since last few years, where we can bring the knowledge which is which can be shared by the distinguished leaders in their own field, and how our students can take benefit out of it. Especially when we talk about our VLFM batch, they are the one who holds many years of work experience in their relevant fields, and this event, I'm sure, will bring out a lot of opportunity for them to understand what is happening in and around the industries in different fields. Talking about the session which we are going to start, obviously this is a very special session, as I was also talking with my colleague over here and the distinguished guest. This is something which I think we are missing in our day-to-day life. We always focus about seeing that how the work should get done, right? And we try to see that if we have been given with a target, how can we complete it in a given time, by seeing that we do it in the most effective way. But somewhere we miss out the human element, which is a very sensitive part of it. I'm sure with this upcoming session, which you all are going to hear from the expert, Ms. Renu Bora, she is definitely going to help us in understanding the gap which exists between the human side and the hardcore element, that is the operation side. So how we can minimize this gap, ensuring that employees who are working in any organization, they keep themselves motivated, they keep themselves engaged with their ongoing activities, and how this can be made useful for both the organization side as well. Talking about the current scenarios, obviously we know that we have the challenges about technologies which are required to be used in different fields, and looking into this importance of technology and the complexity of the business which is going day in, day out, this is a very important step which we should not forget, to take care of the human element as well. So on behalf of the entire IIM Mumbai fraternity, I welcome all our distinguished guests over here for today's event, and I welcome our guest for today's session, and I hope that this session is going to help all our young minds sitting over here in this room to take the maximum benefit of it, and they can take this learning in their day-to-day life and see that how they can make their mind in that way, so that will help them in planning their future as well. So thank you, everyone. Please enjoy the session. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Ma'am, I would like you to just now I would request Professor Ravindra Gokhale to please welcome Priyanka ma'am with a bouquet. Thank you, sir. I'm really excited to introduce you to our next speaker, who is one of Asia's 100 Power Leaders 2022. We have here with us Ms. Renu Bora, Chief People Officer, DB Shankar. Ms. Bora is an alumnus of IIT Roorkee and has done executive courses from IIM Calcutta and IIM Ahmedabad. Her career is enriched with first-hand experiences of disinvestment, mergers and acquisitions, new factory setup, investigation and redressal of posh cases, in addition to a variety of internal global HR projects. Under her stewardship, Shankar India got Great Place to Work certifications and won the Economic Times Best Workplace for Women in 2021 and 2022. Ms. Bora is passionate about people and culture and partners closely with the leadership team to build a culture of mutual trust and performance excellence. The topics of DEI, future of work, and CSR are close to her heart. Today, she'll be talking about strategic human resource management in the digital era. The need of the hour signifies that handling HR challenges and seizing digital opportunities is vital for a successful workforce. This discussion is crucial for aspiring leaders in the ever-changing business landscape. Now, with a huge round of applause, let's welcome Ms. Bora to the dais. Now, may I request Professor Priyanka Verma to welcome Ms. Bora with a bouquet. Welcome to IIM Mumbai, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. Ma'am, you may take your seat.
We have here with us Professor Upasana Agarwal, who will be moderating this wonderful session. Professor Upasana has done her PhD in organization behavior and chairs the Diversity, Equity and Inclusion Cell at IIM Mumbai. Professor Upasana is among the top 2% researchers for a singular impact in the world, as per the study conducted by scientists from Stanford University and published by Elsevier. Some of her research include reviewing the relationship between human resource practices and psychological contract and their impact on employee attitude and behavior. We are very grateful for your presence here, ma'am. Now, with a huge round of applause, let's welcome Professor Upasana to the dais. Also, I request my fellow batchmate Manish to welcome Professor Upasana with a bouquet. Thank you, Manish. Now I would request our moderator to dive into this much awaited session. Thank you.
So, on my personal behalf and behalf of IIM Mumbai, Renu, once again a very, very warm welcome to you and thanks for being here today. I want to start my question by asking you to tell us a little about yourself with respect to the achievements that you have under your feather. You're the Chief People's Officer and you have so many awards such as the Economic Times Best Workplace for Women and Innovative Best Practices Award that you won in the recent times. What's life been like to you and what did it take for you to be here?
Thank you so much. Thank you for inviting and I hope I'm audible and good morning to you all once again. Yeah, so the question that I'm hearing is that what has been my journey? And you know, everyone, each of us has a journey, a different journey. I don't know how, when I talk about my journey, how would it, you know, even impact you or even it's of a matter to you. I'm not very sure about it. But I think there would be certain leaf that you can, you know, take from there. So I started my, people keep on asking me, where are you from? And it's difficult to say where am I from. If you talk about my parents, yeah, so I'm from Dehradun. My parents are from Uttarakhand. My father's family was in defense forces for a very long time. My father's grandfather was he fought from the Britishers in the World War and so on. My mother's family was into teaching, but I was brought up in Gujarat. So we were 3 sisters and 1 brother. And my father was in a very junior position when he left army because he could not grow within army. And he he came to know that oil is being, explored in parts of Gujarat. So he joined there as a storekeeper. I think the salary was very meager. This is what I heard from my mother. But I will not enter into that arena. I'll talk about my schooling was in very different places. 2 years here, 2 years in there, like Ahmedabad, Bhuj, Mehsana, Ankleshwar, all those part of, western Gujarat. So my early thing which maybe would have formed my character, could be that, I had this question always asking why. And most time the why was not articulated, it was internally. And I think each of us, when we are a very small child, we ask this question, why? Why, water is flowing, why stars are twinkling. Like I remember I was in a train and there was a small boy and he was saying, he saw a goat, bakri, and he was saying, why bakri kyun khadi hai pole ke paas? Matlab bacche pushte hain question. So I used to ask this question, and when I was growing, I found that my father's family would, just tease him at times that, there are 3 daughters, bhaiya, you will be just, ending your life with paying dowry. And they would laugh, and I would think that, why this question about, about me or, and so on. And then why my father is not even responding or reacting or giving it back. And then I think when I was growing up, I was reading a lot of literature. I happened to be, staying in a place in Ankleshwar, Gujarat, in the ONGC township, in which there was a family, a lady was there who was having a library of her own. I think she was a voracious reader. And so I read all Russian literature in Hindi when I was in class 5, 6, 7. My teachers would say that one should not read novels, but I was reading novels entire day. So, and then my father would say that, don't go out late in the evening. We had many restrictions in those days, and I would say why. And I was the 3rd daughter, and I would revolt, So I had a lot of fights with my father. I understand he was a part of the social, he was a product of that society. He was not and he was a great father. But this question and revolting and not listening to him, I think it went into one certain direction. But I think that's in the organizations. And I can give an example. When I joined Shankar 13 years back, and I was looking into the payroll every month, I found that there's a lady whose PF is not being, paid for 2 months. So I said, why? And the team went and said that she's in Mumbai. It's because she's not being paid salary for 2 months. I said, why? Then they said, okay, but she's an old timer and the manager allowed this kind of leave. But I said, but we asked this question that why is he giving a 2 months long leave? With repeated whys, I think they became a bit scared also. But the answer was not about finger pointing. I was saying, I want to probe. And I came to know that this lady has worked in the company for maybe 7, 8 years. And then she didn't have any children, and she adopted a child. And the child, obviously when you're adopting a child, the child would need a parent and many things. And you are a new parent to a child. So she had taken leave. And I said, we should have a adoption maternity leave. In 2012, far before the government of India had this scheme of adoption maternity leave, we had it in Shankar, India. And this only came because of these questions like why. And then I had this tendency of meeting people in the warehouses, But when I would go to the warehouse, I would meet workers, though they are all third-party workers, but I would meet the guards also. To the extent that we had this new factory, new warehouse in very far end of Haryana. Those who are aware of Haryana, like Patauti ko bhi cross karna padta hai, Batli ke paas mein, there is a new warehouse. And the guard once told the HR resource there, who told me that when the women workers are standing near the bus stop, outside the gate of the warehouse, they would get whistling, cat, those there are people who are going and whistling at these women workers. So what is my role? I can't, and I think we cannot stay silent because, so I will not go to the solution because each one of you will have a different solution to that. But I reached the panchayat, through this community thing. And we can't give a bus to the women workers because we don't have the policy. But to ensure that women feel safe, and there are men allies, like the guard who told the HR person, the HR person told me. I think it's important for us to understand that people in the organization should be respected, whether they are within the premises or outside the premises. One of the other things that when I was growing up was around, I think we all face discrimination for various reasons. If you are of a certain body type, you hear those remarks. If you are, so I used to hear a lot of things about, being a female child, 3 daughters, 1 son. So we used to have our father's friend who would come and they would ask this, कि 3 बेटियां हैं, चलो कोई बात नहीं. So कोई बात नहीं क्या बात है? So yeah, so these kind of questions would make me very disturbed in those days. And then I think it also led me to this thing that the only solution would be financial independence. That is the first and foremost thing. And I found that my father would always hand over a good amount at the month end or the beginning of the month to my mother to run the house. But I could feel that my mother doesn't have the financial independence. And it is so, so important for anyone in the world to have that financial independence. We also know that 80% of the world's wealth is with men because they have inherited them, or maybe they are the corporate leaders, or they are maybe the landlords or so on. While my father was a very hard worker. He used to work very hard. My mother was equally working so hard. At 4 a.m. she would get up. With 3 daughters and 1 son, she would wash, cook, mop, do everything. But she was not earning. And then I think I was in class 11th or 12th. I think I'm going for a very long story, but to cut the story, I was taking tuitions. I realized that it's important for us to earn. And so when coming back to the corporate world, when in one of my team members, she was in learning and development, and she had a second baby, and the baby was born with a hole in the heart, congenital problem was there. And her husband was pushing her to resign. So I said, look, you are earning more than your husband. How is the decision coming that you should take a break and not he? I asked very politely because one cannot enter into the person's family. But what I did is that I asked her, are you open for a flexible arrangement? And this is the year 2013-14 when there was no flexibility being talked in a cargo kind of company. And she said, what does it mean? I said, you are a trainer. For your stand-up trainings, come 4 days in a month, fixed 4 days. Rest, you will do 2 or 3 half days, and rest is working from home. And we didn't have MS team in those days, no collaborative forum were there. And I said that we will reduce the salary to 60% salary. And she agreed. And we reviewed this after 6 months, another 6 months, another 6 months. And on 18th month, she said, my daughter is now well, and I want to join back with a full salary. So what I'm saying is that solutions should come once you understand the problem, and you need to be open to work on solution by talking together. And this is where, when we talk about, tech and human interface, I think this is the smaller aspect of human interface where we can, add value in the organization.
Yeah, thanks. And I'm really glad to hear about how you've mirrored your personal experiences and brought it to learnings in the organizations. And I think the key takeaway is the why. Asking a lot of whys, a lot about empathy, and it's all about being open to an alternative point of view. Renu, moving on to the next question, there was one point in time that we used to focus a lot on IQ. And then we started talking about EQ. And today we are saying we need leaders to have very high AQ, and that's adaptability quotient. Shankar is operating for over about 150 years in, I believe, more than 90 countries, which means a lot of adaptability with respect to various cultures and nuances. What have been your experiences with respect to developing a cultural intelligence amongst young managers, and what are some of the lessons that you'd like to share with our audiences?
Yeah, so I would say that even if you remove the tag of multinational company, by the way, if you're working in India in a national company with presence in more than multiple states, the culture is multicultural. Unless the organization is very biased towards only certain region or certain language. And India is so fortunate that every 50 kilometers we have a new culture, new language, new dialect, new gods. So the multicultural thing is there present in India as a part of diversity. Whether we have reached the point of equity and inclusion is where we have to traverse further. And it's very important to traverse it, you know. So when I joined Shankar, we had most of the workforce from India, but the top management were always German. So we had 3 MDs back to back who were Germans. But then I think over the years, the world has changed and there is more acceptability of people of other nationality because they have made a mark. Yeah? And so we have the 4th MD who is an Indian. And then when we had a position in China opening up, so he is now in China. So I think for the first time in Shankar, we have a Shankar China MD who is non-white and that too an Indian. So, and we have many people who have joined the organization in India and they have moved to other locations in India and also abroad within Shankar. So we are very open. We do hear that, you know, at times when we ask for feedback, so people at times say that, you know, you Indians speak very fast, you Indians are very argumentative. So I think we need to maybe listen to these feedback, try to understand why the person is saying that, because why he or she is making a generalization. So I keep on hearing this, you know, like we had a person called, with a certain name called, say, Suresh. So he was called Sorash because he was speaking fast. I'm to say, yeah, so we are told, okay, you guys speak very fast, you are very argumentative, and we say, and I think each of us can listen to it as a feedback if it matters to us, and we reflect upon it. Having said that, what do we do for multicultural, merging? Many of our projects and trainings are global trainings, and the cohorts are from multiple countries. So by working together, unless you experience each other, you will always form some kind of, stereotype, isn't it? Then you start working together, you will find that there are more similarities than dissimilarities. And keeping culture aside, culture has to be embraced. So we organize various kind of, functions. We celebrate almost all the festivals. I would say still corporates have to work a lot on celebrating festivals of minorities. We don't hear it so often, be it a Guru Purab or Eid and just by saying that they are a minority, we are giving them an RH is not the right answer according to me. Because it is like, if you have very few female in your team and you have this preventive health checkup as a program and you say, let's not have mammogram because there are only 3-4 female, kya farak padta hai? No, but that is required. So similarly, I think when we have a multicultural, multi-religious team or workforce, we need to definitely embrace each other's festivals and we should celebrate. And that is one way to even experience each other. Otherwise, I remember, like my husband is from Bihar and he's a Mathil. And so he was eating chicken in some party and said कि अरे तो ब्राह्मण है चिकन कैसे खा रहा है. The person is so, the person who is asking this question is so ignorant that in India, from Kashmiri Brahmins eat non-veg, and Bengalis, Bihar, Mathil Brahmins, Orissa, and so many states, their Brahmins also eat. So unless we know each other, we will always be thinking that we know everything. So it's important to know each other and have forums where, you know, people can celebrate together. Yeah.
Very interesting. Just building on this thought of trying to understand each other, creating more inclusive climate. You see, a lot of focus organizations now currently is not just to the bottom line. It's you have to do well while you're doing good. So we also see that in your profile there is a lot of focus you have been playing on bringing in intersectionality between future of work, the way the workplace and work requirements are changing, the DEI, CSR initiatives in your organization. Tell us what has been the role of HR department and people managers there to get this philosophy accepted?
We're talking about DEI and future of work and CSR. I think the most common theme, it's a very, only a professor can ask this question. Yeah, so I think the most important thing, according to me, is equity here. DEI, diversity is there, diversity is here also sitting, and we can various kind of diversity, not only diversity, education, family, socio-economic thing. So diversity is there. Equity plays an important role to ensure inclusion. Similar about future work, includes workforce, so that we are to address the problems of today. Like we are sitting at India Institute, we're still having plastic bottles here. So it's not a finger pointing. Even if you come to Shankar, you'll also problems of today or problems which have been made or which came because of some consciousness can't be solved the same consciousness. So we have to think about new. I think in the case of future of work, when we'll more have work which is which a lot of flexibility is given, which is required by them, but will not misuse it because we have trust-based. We will have a because they know that they have to not only take 9 to 6, but they are really working. Even when they're leaving the workplace, they are carrying the work in their mind and looking for a new solution. I think equity again will play a most important role for work. Do you feel that you have the same space in the organization, even suppose you are at a junior, or is the hierarchy too stiff? And when we talk about CSR, I think CSR also has come up. Society is becoming more inequitable these days, isn't it? We have the highest number of millionaires maybe from India, but we also have hunger. On the hunger index we are, and we can't close our eyes, you know. At least I can't say that, because when I claim that, you know, we have this medical facility, and the person who comes to my house earning maybe 34,000 salary from 5 or 6, she broke her leg. She didn't go to a hospital because she told me 150 will be taken only on consultancy, and the 4,000 is going towards schools, children's fee, towards rent, towards grocery, sending parents some money back home. So I'm saying that CSR is so imperative because we have the community which needs our you know, funding, our involvement, and all these three. So in Shankar we are running various CSR projects. most of them are around skilling of women. So we have our warehouses where mostly men are working, but in the vicinity we are running 2 projects to skill women to become entrepreneurs. And these are like rural women. We have a new project coming up in which we have signed up with a foundation to train women to become commercial drivers. And I think the more women are seen in these kind of roles, driving bus, driving auto, or driving commercial vehicles, I think when you start seeing more women on the street, you will definitely accept them, and then equality will arrive in. Yeah. So we are using CSR as a tool to drive what we believe in the organization.
Very interesting. Moving on from what we are doing for the society to employees back at work, and recently there was a World Health Organization report which says that they have now constituted a panel on connections. Just to draw the thought back, Japan, Netherlands have now empaneled somebody as the chief loneliness officer. And it's believed that after pandemic, we are in for another pandemic with respect to mental health, and loneliness is one of the major ingredients. I want to know from you, based on your experiences, you're dealing with so many youngsters and workforce across generations, are you seeing this as a palpable problem in the organization, in your organization? And what have been some of your steps to address loneliness, which seems to be emerging as the next pandemic?
So loneliness as a pandemic, or having no one to share even your happiness, I think is a concern. We say that in India we are so closely, we have familial ties, we have cousins, we have, you go to a wedding and you'll come to know that how much family and bigger togetherness is there as a value in the organization. Yet I agree with you, because we can ask people this question here, the youngsters who are hooked on their cell phones, that and most of them are right now, and I understand it's impossible to get attention from people, and this is a work for, it puts the person who's speaking into new challenges, which is fine. But I'm saying that you can put a hand on your heart and say that when you want to share your inner feeling, do you have a friend to share with? Because you would not be sharing it with your parents. Most of them, though I feel that I'm a friend to my son who is 20-year-old, I don't think that he shares his problems with me. And I'm so available, but he calls me when he needs money. Yeah. Yeah, so he went to Ethiopia for his internship. He's studying in University of Michigan. One fine day, he went to Ethiopia for his internship, and he thought कि वो जो forex card है वो पूरे world में काम करता है, वो 25 country में काम करता है, वो उसने सोचा नहीं, ठीक है, और मैंने भी नहीं सोचा. So he went there and he had no money. So he called me, and then I had to work for 2 days to find out my connection, and anyway money reached him. But I'm saying, I'm sure that he has his setbacks. He's very ambitious, like all of you. Aspirations are there, and when he has his setbacks, be in terms of score, he's not sharing it with me. So who is he sharing with? I hope he has a friend. But I'm saying that it is very difficult to share with a colleague in the office, because even your colleagues are your competitors, and the world is not very world is warm, world is familial, and even we have this question in a Gallup survey every year, that do you have a friend in your office? And we say yes, and we get 85% marks there in the organization. But I know of one gentleman in my organization, my previous organization, who was having a issue with his wife, and it's very normal, you can always have relationship issues. So his wife once turned up in the office with his mother-in-law, and they created some ruckus or whatever, but I don't blame the wife, because there would have been some reason. Maybe this person was not responding. But what happened, he shared it with me, he shared with his manager, and I told him take leave, and I was understanding, because he was going through a tough phase, and his wife suddenly goes with the 2 children. Obviously, he was feeling so impacted, and maybe they both had reasons, strong reasons. Then after 3-4 months comes the appraisal time, and I find on a 5 rating scale, he has been given a rating of 2. So I give a call to the executive vice president, and I'm only a DGM senior manager, but I give a call. What happened? Why we are giving this? This is a star performer. He said, अपनी family को संभाल नहीं पाया, क्या वो company संभालेगा? And I was surprised. The guy who said was an executive vice president, not just because he was the owner of the company. He was from top institutes. I will not even name the institute because it is not about that institute. He was one of them. But I felt that, look, this guy did a huge mistake by sharing with his manager, you know. So we all have this fear. I have this fear of sharing my office problems with my friends. Maybe they would think that she's a winner of so many awards and now she's having a problem. She must be doing something wrong. So do we have a safe friend? Do we have the safety net in the organization? Do we just listen to people without being judgmental? Maybe it's a bad day for them. So if your friend is talking about and saying that my father is a bad person or my mom, just listen to the person. And don't form opinion about their parents. And that's the reason I think we don't even share. But coming to this, we had a case of suicide in the organization. And this fine gentleman, one, he died. Morning when we came to know, we all rushed. It was a very sad case. And his colleagues of 11 years said that his wife or some came rushing. He had only one son who was a client. Or in the future, why did he do this? What do you know? Then this long time back, and I spoke to people, and then we started EAP. You would know about EAP assistance program, where if you're going through some tough time, you have a counselor, your organization, your HR. But coming back to loneliness, definitely it is. That's the reason people are, the psychology, the most covered course these days. There are psychiatrists who are, thousands by hour. So there's no easy answer. But I can only say that we are here as professional, but I think we are first human being, isn't it? I go to many coaching classes and I say that don't introduce me by saying you are AGM so-and-so, you are a data scientist. Don't just say without your tag, without your profession, what are you? It's like a onion, you just remove the layers. Because that's a tag. Data scientist hai, aap earning ke liye hai, maybe it's only 1 by 100 part of your identity. You are somebody else. You are a human being. You are maybe evolving. You are maybe nature lover. You are maybe an angry person. Kuch to hai. So, coming back, what we can say is that the world is not bad. Be open to your friends and give them space. Be not judgmental and just listen to them. And there are people who do that. It's not difficult, yeah. So as an organization, we don't have any straight answer, but in our management trainee program, we emphasize that we have to be a considerate manager. And we have our CEO who says that be firm on the topics, but gentle on the person. And I think that is more important. Always try to be gentle on your friends, on the person. And when you go to the organization as leaders, ensure that you are gentle to your team member.
Renu, I'm coming towards the last part of our conversation, and I just want you to look back at a very rich and a long life experience that you've had, both in personal life and professional life. Starting a career is the easiest thing all of us can do. But sustaining a healthy career and a happy life is not something that we all end up with. If you were to give us 5 and share with all of us 5 things that you think make an interesting, successful, and a happy life. What would these 5 things be?
So I don't have that list of 5.
Any number.
Yeah,
It
yeah.
can be less than 5.
I'll try. And it may not be relevant for you because, again, absolutely, there can't be any absolute list. But what has worked for me, and I will not say that I'm very successful, I am, you ask my son, he would have, because he uses these kind of, irreverent language of this generation that, have you lost it? He asks these questions to me and I just look at it and I tell him, मैं अपने पापा को कभी बोल नहीं पाई, तुम कैसे मुझे बोल सकते हो ये sentence? But he says, Mummy, have you lost it? So these are the language that children use. So I don't have any straight
And I
answer.
can see a lot of parents nodding here.
Yeah. I think being open to ideas, being open, not being rigid, ki I know the truth. Please be open. That is one. Relationships are so important, because you may end up in an organization where you're not liking your new manager, and you're not liking your new role, you're not liking the purpose of the organization. You need to have a very strong relationship to a set of friends whom you can say that, I would like to, try out new things, or give me a lead for a new job or whatever, or we can start together. So relationship is so important. Third thing, networking. And networking is not relationship. I'm saying in the organization, work as a networked person. So there are people who just work in their hierarchy, in silos. So if you are a finance person, you only know the finance manager, the CFO, and you don't know anyone else, around you. But gone are those days of straight, siloed, vertical hierarchy. You need to have a lot of network in the organization and try to understand from where your organization is earning money. Who are your customers, even if you are working in any role. So that is very important. I think building connections, real connections, is important. Skilling. I think skilling is the new currency. And it is a real new currency, and we need to keep on skilling us. It shouldn't be to the extent of FOMO, but skilling in the right direction or adding value to it is important, and having a very good mentor. Like I run some circles in the organization called Women's Circles, based on the book called Lean In of Sheryl Sandberg. So we have this women's circles, but I think you need to have 1, 2, 3 mentors in your life. They may not be like they don't hold the absolute truth, but just talk to them. Don't be a blind bhakt for that matter कि मेरे mentor ने मुझे ये कहा था, वो नहीं. But need to have a mentor, very, very important. I think these things, and I really had mentors in my life.
As they say, network is your net worth.
Yes.
Right. Well, that brings me to the last part of the...
It became 5, no, finally?
You have absolutely 5. So questions from the audience. We can now take a few questions. We have about 7 minutes, 10 minutes maybe.
So I hope you found this of some value. Okay, thank you. Because what happens that, youngsters, they give a call to you that we have this program conclave coming up, and you say yes, and then it will not happen that, people would say that, there was no value coming out of it. Yeah. So I would like to have feedback. Maybe you can send me on my LinkedIn message, so that is a learning for me.
Absolutely. A lot of richness. Questions, please. Maybe the speaker would want to know that how important the points she's made been. So why don't you have some questions for her?
Hi ma'am, I'm Sanjeet. You rightly, as you started talking about this, and we have a perceive that a HR person mostly talks about how we should work in an organization and all those things, but 90% of your talk was focused towards how you should mend your relationships with your families, your friends, how to have a good mentor and all those things. That was very eye-opener for me, and I believe for everybody else also. One thing that I would like to know from you, ma'am, that in this uncertainty that is going on in all the organizations, we have been seeing that the cycle of recession coming every 2 to 3 years, and top companies like Facebook, Amazon, and all the FANG companies are letting people go in a very odd way. And although we talk about all these things, that how we should mend our relationships, families and all, in that his family should be behaving in a very relevant way, and how he should manage all these nuances in life.
I think it's a very important, very interesting question, very pertinent one. But I think one of you also used the word VUCA here. Well, whether it's VUCA world or Bani world, the fact is that uncertainty you have accepted. So when you define the world, we always try to make a pattern of the world, to make sense of the world. That's the reason taxonomy came. That's the reason in chemistry we have the periodic table, because we want to make sense. We want to patternize. So uncertainty is in the world has always been there. We had world wars. Talk to a farmer. He or she would not even know whether this year there will be rains or not. Yeah? Or there would be some kind of new disease coming up to the crop. So uncertainty has always been there. Only in the maybe last 200 years, because of urbanization and because of industrial revolution and the kind of setup we have, these organized organizations, that we think that we have a 9 to 5 job, there is a job security. Otherwise, uncertainty has always been there. So embrace the uncertainty. Now, it sounds very philosophical, but I mean to say, prepare for it. You cannot prepare for it fully, but always keep certain, I would say, I know of people who are not good in financial planning, but I would reiterate, when we talk about resilience, which means bouncing back, it's about physically fitness, which is very important, mental fitness, having a very good social connect so that you are psychologically fit, and financial resilience. I think that is, I spoke about financial independence, no? For generation, women have suffered because they were not financially independent. Similarly, this fear that tomorrow I am going to lose my job, and which is a very genuine fear, and it's happening so rampantly. It is happening so rampantly. There is hardly any sector which is so, recession-proof. Maybe the education sector, they say, for professors here, and maybe food sector, they say. But otherwise, or maybe medical. So, keeping some buffer, and planning, yeah, I think it's so important to plan. That can be the reason, and skilling, yeah, yourself. But one should know that one has to deal with it, because yesterday only somebody met me, and this guy lost his job after 12 years, 3 months working in some organization. So he met me, he thought, maybe I'm HR person, so I can give him a job. And he was talking, but I found that he was feeling so low, and as if he has just lost entire confidence in himself. And he had a lot of anxiety issues also now coming up. So if you keep on, if you accept that this is also a part of the life, then you'll start preparing for it. But financial resilience is very important.
Ma'am, I have a question.
Oh,
Good afternoon, ma'am. I am Purnima from Mumbai. So I will not say I am a data science professor, because you said no, it's just a designation. So you spoke about future of work, equity, IQ, EQ. No, Pasna has asked a question. So I teach enterprise systems here. So wherein, when we talk about enterprise systems, there again, in addition to the process, technology and affordance, people is a very, very important dimension. Culture is a very, very important dimension. So you spoke about the multicultural aspect. And CSR commercial pilots. So, we are very happy to see in our aircrafts also, we see women as a pilot. Okay. Ma'am, my question is, when you were talking about IQ and EQ, there is one more dimension, which is called SQ, right? You can call it spirituality quotient. So what are your views on that?
I think we can cover this in the lunch time.
So, okay.
Because it sells, the spirituality sells.
Yeah, I think what she's trying
I understand.
Yeah.
I understand.
There's a book written on it.
And no, there are, I'm to say, people say,
yeah, we'll cover in the
spiritual
lunchtime.
guru, but maybe I'm not the authority on that. But
So,
I understand what you are saying. I'm into that. So I have got dogs in my house. There are 4 dogs, all 4 indies. One is a tripod, one is a lame, and the 4th one has come because there was a saria was impaled on his body. So अभी वो ठीक कर रहे हैं इसको. So I think सबका अपना अपना होता है कि how do they draw their spiritual energy from. When I look at these 4 dogs, I get my purpose of life maybe, but I hear you out, and maybe in that journey you are far ahead than many of us. So I don't have any answer for you at this moment. Yeah.
No, thanks. Thank you, madam. I'm like you.
Hello, ma'am. So I have a question that when you are higher in the hierarchy and dealing with the subordinates, those are in the system, say for the long years, and you have to drive the change management. So what will be the key points or key tips that we should take care so that their integrity or say their egos are not hurt of the colleagues, those are within the system?
So you're saying that you have a team with you. There's a change management happening.
Yes.
And
as per the hierarchy, you are say at a decision-making position.
Yeah, so you're a decision maker in the organization or for the team. There's a big change management happening,
yes,
which will adversely impact. If
not adversely.
If it is positively impacting, so what is the problem? Isn't it?
No, someone who is in the system, say for the long period. Okay.
Yeah.
So they may be having say mind stigma that this cannot happen.
Yeah.
So what are the key points that while convincing them or while assuring them
Yes.
that this is for the betterment?
Yeah.
Okay.
I hear you out, and change management is so important. If we are able to show to the other person what is in for me, I think half the battle is won, isn't it? And we are not able to show to the other person because most of the change management efforts will also include some kind of redundancy. And I think if we start with that mindset कि इस team में जो बहुत पुराना है उसको we are going to adversely impact, then it's not a change management, then it's a directive. But if you come with this idea that I will be able to change and move the team en masse to the new vision, then you are working together. Then you find in your team who are the change catalysts. Who are the people who are maybe far ahead in the journey of change. Maybe they can work together with the other team member so that it is a more safer space. And again, the same cycle will remain that, in a change cycle, what happens? Your team member who is maybe very rigid in the thoughts would say first of all, deny. We don't need this. आप क्यों कर रहे हो? Denial होगा, resistance. Then there would be say exploration. So you have to bring the person to exploration from denial and resistance. And then obviously there's a commitment and growth. So how do you bring the person to denial, from denial to even exploration? Okay, let me, by at times being very directive, but most of the time talking about the bigger purpose of the change. Are we future-proofing the organization? How it is important for us because there are new competitors coming, and if we don't change us, we will be doomed. So these kind of things.
Thank you for those very interesting answers, Renu. That brings us to the end of this conversation. Thank you everyone for being very patient listeners and very, very interesting conversations. And thank you very much to you.
We are very thankful to both of you for such an engaging session and your discussion on emotional and adaptability quotient in a global perspective on diversity within India and the organization's multicolored cultured ethos. Also, I could personally relate with your love for novels and even the scoldings from my mother. So thank you, ma'am. Now, may I please request Professor Ravindra Gokhale to felicitate our speaker, Ms. Bora, with a memento. Thank you, sir. May I request my batchmate Abhishek to felicitate our moderator with a token of thanks. Thank you, Abhishek. Yes, thank you, ma'am. You may please take your seat. Thank you, everyone. I know you have been eagerly waiting for the surprise, so it's reveal time now. With the blessings of our director and in presence of our esteemed guests and faculty, we would like to go ahead with the launch of video brochure of PGTX VLFM Class of 24.
PGDX VLFM is a one-year, full-time residential executive management diploma program jointly conducted by IIM Mumbai and IIT Delhi to groom the emerging leaders for mid and senior level managerial positions. Post-graduation diploma for executive visionary leaders for manufacturing is a unique program that fulfills the current industry's growing demand for techno-managerial leaders who shape the neo-industrial revolution. The course has been designed in consultation with CII. IIM Mumbai imparts students with knowledge in operations, supply chain management and leadership, while IIT Delhi integrates the most current and emerging trends and technologies prevalent in the industry. This program gives an exposure to world-class manufacturing facilities across the globe to bring a change in the thought process from small m to big M and provide a vision to look at the invisible through the third eye. Introducing the class of 2024. Cohort of 31 visionary leaders with an average experience of 6.4 years from diverse background and functional experience.
For me, this journey has been a game changer, right from sharpening my managerial skills to diving into the cutting edge tech. So it's been an incredible experience and I'm really excited for what lies ahead.
Till now, this journey has been really transformative because of dedicated professors, case study-based real-world learning, and the perfect blend of technological and managerial skills enhancement.
We are VLFM.
That was a treat to watch, and thanks to the branding team for their effort. So there is a small announcement. Actually, we are going live, so we'll like it if you like and share. We are going live on YouTube. So do you say?
Hello everyone, please remain seated. We'll be starting the session in a few minutes' time.
We'll be excuse me guys, we'll be beginning with the third session. Please stay back. I request you all if you could please ask your friends to come back. Welcome back everyone, and please take your seats. We are now moving to the most anticipated panel discussion of this conclave, which is about revolutionizing supply chains and elevating business through digital transformation. Digitalizing supply chain offers future leaders vital lessons in resilience, sustainability, and global integration. The fusion of digital strategies with supply chain management is crucial for unlocking opportunities and fostering adaptability in tomorrow's business leaders. For this session, we are pleased to welcome two of the most renowned industry leaders, Ms. Bharti Goyal and Mr. Rohit Mantri. I would like to introduce to Ms. Goyal, a distinguished leader at the helm of Capgemini's SAP business in the Asia Pacific, holding a bachelor's in electrical engineering and MBA from INSEAD. Ms. Goyal seamlessly blends technical acumen with strategic vision.
Her journey extends beyond academia. Ms. Goyal is a fervent advocate for diversity, inclusion, climate action, and social impact. She shares insights on SAP, Industrial 4.0, blockchain, and IoT, which showcases her commitment to shaping the future of digital leadership to navigate the complexities of our ever-evolving business landscape. We welcome you, ma'am.
Next, I would like to extend a hearty welcome to Mr. Rohit Mantri, Head Impact SNOP, for being here with us. Mr. Mantri, a seasoned professional for over 30 years at Tata Motors, comes with his educational accolades from IIM Ahmedabad and Carnegie Mellon University. As the head of Impact, Unified SNOP and Connected Planning, he leads end-to-end digital transformation, integrating a volume-to-value perspective. He showcases proven strengths in strategic transformation, notably in new product introduction and sales and operations planning. His global leadership, acknowledged through the leading networks, reflects his commitment to excellence. With a huge round of applause, let's welcome Mr. Mantri to the dais. Now I'd request Professor K.S. Ranjani to please welcome Ms. Goyal and Mr. Mantri with a bouquet.
Also,
thank you, ma'am.
Also, we have here with us Professor Poonam, who will be moderating this session. Professor Poonam has done her PhD in Industrial Organization, Competition Policy, and Econometrics. She has been part of the IIM Mumbai fraternity for close to 10 years now, wherein she served the institute in various capabilities. Some of her works include econometric modeling, mergers and acquisition, corporate strategy, corporate finance, and competition policy. We are very grateful for your presence here today, ma'am. Now, with a huge round of applause, let's welcome Professor Poonam to the dais. I request my batchmate Mohit to welcome Professor Poonam with a bouquet. Thank you, Mohit. Now may I request our moderator to commence the wonderful session.
Thank you so much. Good afternoon, one and all. Thank you, Rohit and Bharti, to join us today. And thank you, VLFM, for giving me this opportunity to be sharing the dais with two of these so important people in this industry. And sorry, audience, for not giving you the break. But, through our conversation, we will try to mend for it. Right? So, as you know, the title today is one of the very relevant topics, of course, for NITI and now IIM. This has been always one of our, chief bread and butter, if we may say. And so therefore, especially after, the COVID, I think the, bottlenecks, if I may say, in supply chain has been very, prominently shown, and at the same time it created an opportunity for this whole digital transformation. So I keep on saying, that it's become a joke now that what demonetization couldn't do, COVID made it happen, right? So through the digital transformation became a reality in a way. Of course, this was more from a payment landscape, but we do see in every, part of the organization now that digitalization is being welcomed and being implemented. So, without much ado on that, let me start with this panel. May I request then Bharti and Rohit first to go with your opening remarks or thoughts, initial thoughts on the subject, and then we go ahead with some Q&A. Bharti.
Thanks. So thanks for this opportunity and nice to see all these smiling faces. And if I may add, apologies for not having the break, but that's still okay. So having been working in this industry for last 20 years now, I have seen that supply chain, yes, the focus has really been reinvented in the last years, but the supply chain has been continuously a focus for last 20-25 years. If I remember the days some 50, 70, 80 years back when industrial revolution happened, everybody focused on Six Sigma, everybody focused on optimizing the manufacturing processes, cutting down the cost of manufacturing so that you could create those optimized products for the organizations. But then eventually everybody caught up. Every manufacturer became lean and efficient and high quality one. Everybody started. So now where is your uniqueness? That's where organizations, they started looking at supply chain to reinvent their USP. How we can make multiple variants of the product, how we can make those variants available to the customer, what is the shortest time in which we can fulfill those things, how we can create the complete value chain, different versions of the things. Another things that started coming into the focus is as the demands started increasing, the operations grew. In last 10 years, especially, the scale of the operations has grown. So that is where I think supply chain today is a big focus for every organization. It is a key differentiator for the organizations right now. And most important, supply chains do not belong to a country. Supply chains belong to a global arena. Even if you are, as a business, operating in 2 cities, your supply chain will still be very global. So these are the aspects that I would like to, all of you to remember when we are leading these discussions here.
Right, hi guys. Few thoughts, opening thoughts from my side is that in the past 3 years or so, like what you mentioned, actually for the first time, one thing is, there was this need felt that, supply chain, business, everything, needs to be relooked at, specifically from the COVID disruption and the related things that have been happening since then, right? So one is the need that has come in. Other thing that this COVID business kind of did was kind of opened everyone's minds to new possibilities. I suppose that is a bigger thing than rest of the things that were there, because there are a lot of opportunities, tools, systems, etc. that were already available to everyone, but people weren't open to it. With this COVID business happening, people were almost forced to actually rethink, some of the ways that they were. At the same time, that technology is a big part that they can bring in to actually facilitate this new way of working, right? So all these things coming together is actually opening a new vista for businesses, etc. More importantly, the way I see it in India, we are at a juncture where there is a huge growth coming up. While even though we might have companies like Tata Motors, for example, having a large legacy, etc., we still have the opportunity of leapfrogging or going picking up new ways of working, which probably in Western organizations, etc., they might to a certain part may have got locked in, right? So we've got the elbow room to do things differently at this juncture, because we've got the growth, we've got the technological bandwidth that is coming in, and of course rest of it is how open we are to bringing that change in. So great time to be looking at all these kind of new ways of thinking at this point in time, right? Great time to be in this space.
Thank you, Bharti and Rohit, for your initial thoughts. So, what I conclude from here, so supply chain, as we see, it's more like connection, right? So you talked about global connection, and you were talking about, the new ways of integrating. So let me just start with you, Rohit. Tatas, we know they are a legacy, and they have been here for so many years, and you are there, for so many years with them, which I was mentioning the other day to you as well. But when you say new ways of thinking, or as you are in the unified approach, so may I say unified approach of thinking, how is it easy or difficult in a legacy organization like Tata's?
Easy or difficult, actually, it's not relatively easy to start off. That's point one. But point two, the interesting part is it's not as difficult as we imagine it to be, right? So I suppose, we have to say that, yes, I mean, it's not going to be a cakewalk, but, it's not impossible either. It's not, overtly difficult either. We have to make a beginning, start driving something, and you start seeing things change, right? And when we typically in a large organization, when you start seeing things change, you will start seeing that a few things move quicker, few things move a little slower, etc., etc. But as things move forward, then the rest of the organization starts seeing their colleagues, peers, other functions, etc., etc., moving forward, and then it starts gaining some sort of a momentum. So in all, I mean, I would say we should not hold ourselves back from driving some sort of large scale transformation or big step transformation by wondering, is it going to be difficult, right? If I take a minute, the transformation effort that I have been driving, incidentally, we started it on 10th of March 2020. I remember the date because by 20th there was a lockdown like nobody imagined, and I thought we are finished, right? Turned out that actually that was a blessing in disguise when I look back, because our entire manufacturing setup, all the various factories, etc., had completely slowed down. Some of them had almost half shut down. Lot of stakeholders had lot of time on hand. So great for me where I'm driving a transformation, I'm able to have conversations, and we had moved almost within a week's time. The entire company had flipped into a remote mode. This, I think, nobody in the company also would have imagined that such a large organization could have flipped. There were certain functions that took a little longer to shift into remote because they needed specialized machines which were actually shipped to their homes, right? And stuff like that, but the rest of it. So I had access to the people, I had time, and then we were able to actually start driving a lot of change and momentum. So in these 3 years, at the outset itself, the point I'm making is we took a in a sense, objective of tying up, the entire end-to-end value chain of Tata Motors. When I say Tata Motors, we are talking about passenger vehicle business and commercial vehicle business. Of course, they are two separate businesses, but from the, customer dealer end all the way back to our supplier end, all on a single platform, bringing in finance, connecting everything, from data perspective to, our enterprise level systems. Somebody talks about a project, typically, the first thought is, please keep your scope of project, slightly small, slightly focused, otherwise you're losing yourself. Here we did the exact opposite. We said everything and its uncle we'll take and we'll try and solve it. That actually, in a sense, helped us because in a, the problem we were solving is of a certain sort, which if you see a issue at one end, the solution is in some corner somewhere else. So unless you take every aspect into consideration, you are not going to actually see success. You can't solve issues in pockets because the entire system has to work. So we took that and we went forward, and we've surprised ourselves with the amount of progress that we made.
Thank you, Rohit. So, a big lesson for us that small probably is not always beautiful. At times you have to take it on a large canvas, and that's how a unified approach works. Piecemeal may not be sufficient. Now, extending this, from an within organization to say across countries, Bharti. So since the day we spoke, I've been really intrigued about Asia Pacific, Middle East, and all of that. How do you manage this, and what are the challenges that you face?
So, as Rohit just said, that when you talk about digital transformation, it's not something small. You're talking about connected things, connected organizations, connected lines of business. The procurement organization has dependency on the material management, on the quality, on the finance organization, on getting certain budgetary approvals. Then they could be having certain dependencies on supply chain, transportation. And today, these different functions could be housed in different countries. So digital transformation, when we talk about multiple countries. Like, I'll talk about one of the clients which has more than 700 company codes. They have more than 250 global plants. They are in more than 120 countries worldwide, which include Latin America and certain countries where legally, unless we really network with our people leader, they will not even allow us to get a visa of that country. So that kind of regulations. But in that case, it's very important that you talk to your client stakeholders, you set up a proper governance in place. When you talk about a proper governance, you set up a proper design authority in place. You set up a team which has kind of fishbone kind of structure where there is a centralized governance and then governance and some things that can be taken care of or that have to be taken care of locally. The governance team itself could be comprising of 8 to 10 senior stakeholders. It happens to that level. Design authority is extremely important. And another thing that you have to always bring into the picture is that while you're trying to standardize the things, while you're trying to do a lot of things in a worldwide standard format, you have to maintain certain local nuances. If you do not account for those local nuances, if you don't hear the people at the ground, there is a reason why they are doing the things in a particular way. They are experts in their domain. You have to hear them out. You have to challenge them. If you have better ideas, you have to challenge them. And that interactivity is key to any digital transformation. When they feel connected, when they think, it's important to bring industry experts to the ground, somebody who understands the finance in an automotive scenario, finance in a supply chain or a warehousing scenario. So those kind of things are very important. Right team, right governance, right design authority, taking care of the local nuances is the 5 elements that we always are very careful about when we drive any digital transformation program in multiple countries, in multiple geographies. And yes, sometimes language translators, they also come to our rescue, especially in China, Russia.
So I think this is the whole concept of global village, right? Where even if we are not able to reach physically, our products and ideas are kind of reaching there ahead of us. One more point, Bharti, you had made at the beginning, and this is a question to both of you. You were saying, when you were looking at the evolution of supply chain, and you said, it was a source of competitive advantage, but then your competitors catch up and then you have to innovate again. So, at this point, probably for certain companies, the competitive advantage comes from, say, the digital transformation that is happening, right? But how long do you think it is going to be a sustaining one? And then what would be the next steps for companies as they look ahead? So I would want both of you to have a take on this. Go ahead.
See, I look at this digital, for me, increasingly, personally, when I see software or solutions, implementation of solutions, etc., going forward in future, I kind of don't view those kind of implementation as solution implementations, right? For me, going forward, the solutions are becoming so large. Digital, for example, you said connecting, and by definition, therefore, it goes across geographies, etc. Digital, for example, for me is boundaryless. Boundaries are in our head. So, how do you remove that? So, any implementation is actually including people, process, as well as, your technology, right? So, therefore, idea is how do you change yourself or evolve yourself as an organization while taking the, advantages that are coming along through your technology, right? So, change your process, change your way of working, culture, etc., while taking this into into your equation. So what happens is your organization is now evolving, right? It's nothing to do with I brought this technology, now next technology has come, I'll put that, etc., etc., and my competitor has brought in to usse better technology kidhar hai. That's, I don't think the answer is there. Answer is how are you changing yourself and how fast are you changing, and the opportunity to change. If you see, even if you just sit down and work out what can be the possibilities, there's immense of change possible even as of today, which is visible. There'll be a lot that is discoverable also, right? So a good example is that you got traditional organizations working a certain way. A startup comes sitting on a platform, right, sitting on a technology, and gives same value or more value in a much better way, in a faster way, versus a traditional organization. In certain cases, the entire industries itself have started shaking up, right? That's because the way of working they have changed, not the technology. The question is how do existing companies are able to transform themselves so that they are able to take this new opportunity and change themselves and go forward. So that is the answer for being competitive, less to do with technology.
So in my opinion, digital transformation has two aspects to it. One is an aspect of change, continuously changing thing. But if I go to a CXO and tell him that I'm giving you something which will keep changing or which you need to keep changing every 2 years, they'll just show me the door. Okay, I have to give them a stability, a platform that in their minds, in their planning can work at least 15 to 20 years. That's so what we believe. Every time we hold a CXO discussion, we talk to them, we take their mind share, and we ask them what is the backbone that you're looking for. Let's talk about creating a backbone for you, a manufacturing backbone, a logistics backbone, a finance backbone, a kind of a backbone to which your various systems can keep coming and hooking, because you will have to be agile. You will always have to keep changing your business systems, right? Today, a supply chain is working on the traditional model of trucks and trains. Tomorrow, it may be working through drones. It could be working in some other third manner. It could be a completely different virtual kit. Today, IKEA is, 50 years back, nobody thought furniture could be assembled at home. Today, it's happening. Maybe we are in a situation, cycles are getting assembled at home right now. So maybe we are in a situation where 10 years down the line, the manufacturers say that, okay, we will ship you some parts and you can assemble your car at home. We never know how far the technology will go. And CXOs today, who are at the helm of the organizations, they're not scared of thinking disruptive. They're just, when you go to a CXO, I was talking to Satya Kamaria, who's the CEO of Daimler Trucks, and he said, so some conversation came around electric. He said, for the trucking company, electric is nothing. We don't even talk about electric. We talk about hydrogen. We talk about how this farmer sitting in that corner of the country is going to enable my hydrogen supply chain when I'm coming up with hydrogen powered things. So there is, how will you think that, a organization like Daimler or Hero Motors will go and work with the farmers to create something in their supply chain? So today unlikely connections are emerging, unlikely situations are emerging, and the CXOs are no longer looking for something which is changing everything. So when you are going to them with a digital transformation mindset, when you're talking to them about supply chain, we are talking to them about giving a stable digital backbone. That backbone in place, okay, 2 years later, you need to hook something, you need to remove something, let's work on that plug and play fashion. So that is a very, very important aspect of the digital transformation that we are bringing to our clients today, and that you will also have to start thinking.
Thanks, Bharti and Rohit. So what I see is, now the scale difference and all that, is kind of merging. And so vision, innovation, mindset are and as you said, a backbone. These are buzzwords which probably a startup as well as an established industry can manage together, right? So I see a lot of cooperation, if I may say, emerging. And when you say unlikely connections, so it creates a different kind of ecosystem where we cooperate and grow, if I may say. Now, I have one specific question to each one of you, mostly around your work and organization. So, Rohit, you, in your initial, remarks, you were talking about, COVID and disruptions that has caused, and you said it actually created an opportunity for you because you had the time and space. Now, of course, nowadays we say, okay, COVID is behind us, right? But the lessons that were learned, and for again an organization like Tata's, where do you see it going as an organization?
See, one of the things that we learned, and actually it's across the industry and across industries as well, is how do you become more and more resilient, right? Disruptions will come. If disruptions aren't there, the speed of the organization will increase, and then even the smallest thing causes a disruption. Whichever way, you're going to keep encountering disruptions, right? So how do you become more resilient as you're going forward? So that's actually at a basic level, that's the theme. On top of that, there are several other various pressures that are coming up apart from competitive pressures. There's sustainability, which is becoming a very important angle that is coming in. It's the way we see it, it's going to change the way governance is going to happen. When you're talking about supply, demand, profitability, you'll have sustainability all in the same discussion, right? And you'll have to balance all four, right? So those are the things, questions that we'll need to be answering. One of the things, obviously, therefore, with these kind of challenges coming, the questions, the way we are looking at things is how do we, change the way we've been working in the past? How do you change your objectives? How do you change your vision? How do you, this thing, when I say change your vision, I'm not talking about the business vision, I'm talking about way of working kind of thing. How do you, reconfigure yourself to, be able to take this in the stride? So that's how we are looking at it.
Moving on to Bharti on this, Bharti, like, our students nowadays, the buzzword blockchain, AI, and right? So in, the dynamic landscape that we are in, and probably you are using it every day in and out. So how do you integrate it, and what? So even the progress in AI and blockchain is also very fast, right? So how do you keep up of using them in your say within SAP and in the integrated technology?
So Poonam, here our life is far more simple.
Okay.
Our yes, these technologies are there, but then end of the day, if you look at the roles in Capgemini, they are delivery executive, programmer, tester, project manager, and so there is today somebody who's leading an SAP project, and they are dealing with all the technologies of SAP or Java, and tomorrow when something like blockchain will come, AI will come, that will be another technology, another skill that somebody brings on the team. And we eventually go and integrate it for the client. But yes, one of the difference that I am telling to most of the people is in our team that it's not just about AI. We are talking about generative AI. Generative AI is something that generates a lot of things. So when you're talking about giving your client something which has generative AI capabilities, you're not actually giving an application. You're actually giving your client a new colleague. A colleague which can think, which can create. Okay? You're not creating an application. It's more like I hire somebody, I train them for a particular purpose through a lot of reading material, through a lot of training material, and then I make them capable, and then I place them at my clients and let them do the things. So it's not, it's a bigger change. You know, suddenly you see it's not application, it's a colleague that you're giving, it's a colleague that you're creating. AI, generative AI does not have human feelings, but it does have human-like features, you know. Today, this generative AI and other things, they are able to create videos. How do we know tomorrow they cannot create a machine, you know? Some parts are lying here and there and somebody comes and assembles those parts. That can happen. You know, somebody can, and then one machine can tell another machine, oh, my screws have gone loose, please tighten. So there could be self-healing properties, right? I mean, in human beings, we cannot do that. I have gone insane, But machines can do that, right? So my battery is gone for toss. So you have to, it's, in IT industry, it's not about the skill that you bring. It is the mindset with which you create the deliverables for your clients. You know, what you are giving to your client. So that is how the things are going to change for us. All these technologies, up to blockchain, up to IT/OT, MES, these are all applications. But now we are moving into an era where we are creating colleagues for our clients.
So you know, when you say machines are like our, generative AI is like a colleague without the emotions, I wonder if they start having emotions, whether it would be good or bad. Means I'm still, it's an answer. I'm still, you know, not able to find to it.
Everybody is brainstorming on that.
Yes. So, like, you know, the students here, as you know, they are our VLFM students, as well as we have our defense professionals I can see here. So, they are both from very different kind of organizations, right? One of them are from very technical backgrounds, from manufacturing setups, and they are now moving to more leadership and managerial roles. While our DGMPs are, you know, they are from a very different kind of organizational structure and with a lot of administrative capabilities, and they are trying to transition. So in that context, you know, if you can share your experience in terms of how they prepare themselves for, you know, within the next 2-3 months. So I would request both of you to kind of enlighten them and guide them on that.
So I can talk about the experience of hiring the professionals from VLFM batch. You know, today in my team, I have 3 professionals who are from VLFM batch, and all of them are doing excellent. I have 2 veterans also in the team, so total of 5 people. Yes, we went a little slow, but the best advantage is that when we are talking to our clients, I mentioned that we are always looking for people who have industry expertise, who have been on the floors of the warehouse, who understand that warehouse is not about square kilometers or, you know, it's about cubic, who understand those nuances, who have been through the manufacturing setups, who understand how exactly that entire production things work. And when we hire from VLFM batch, the people bring that insights, that expertise with us, right? Other technologies, a smart batch, definitely easy, they are quick to learn. We take them through some training cycles and they quickly pick up the technical aspects. So our idea is to start them as managers, you know, start leading the small client engagement, start delivering that small hooks that you're integrating to the digital backbones of the clients, eventually pick up your, leading the small teams, guiding them through the design of what the systems will work, how the systems will work, and also to talk to the business stakeholders, conduct workshops, understand what their business requirements are, how they want their system to behave and function in next, whether they are looking at 5-year horizon, 10-year horizon. So those kind of answers is what we expect them to bring to us and then help us in designing the systems. They don't have to sit and deliver the things, they have a team which will eventually work for them. But their in-depth industry expertise, relevance, that is of utmost importance to us. And that is where they are valued better than the regular IMs or regular batches of IM. At least in my business line, we don't hire from IMs. So it was the first time that I hired, and my experience has been extremely good. And I believe you can take feedback from Debashisha, Shubhasis. They can tell you probably, you can reach out, hear from them, how they find working with us. So.
Rohit?
Right. For me, actually, I have, you mentioned what they can do in 3 months, etc. I would go a little deeper, more fundamental. For me, I would say, if I had to give advice to anyone, is for that person as an individual to try and search and find their passion, the thing that makes them, tick, the thing that makes them go forward, what they say, the thing that makes you wake up every day kind of a thing, and try and stay true to that and kind of build a vision around that passion. Where would you like to take that? What would you like to do in that space, etc. For me, I feel that is something that, any time in your life journey, that is a relevant question. I've also found that in the Indian context, we completely lose it. We don't spend any time even asking the question to your kids, everything, yeah, right? The kids, somebody is there, we say, okay, kitna mark aaya, right? Kisko lena dena hai, kisko kitna mark aaya hai? What are you interested in? How well is that person doing, not doing? And building on that is, I should say, not only fulfilling for everyone around the person, so much for the person as well. That is something I would say you all should try and spend time, try and understand, try and internalize and chase that. Now, if I have 2 people coming to me, one is a super talented, super intelligent, super whatever guy or girl, and another person who's very passionate about that particular subject, you'll find that over time, over a year or something, the super passionate person would have turned all the stones, unturned everything, learned the skills, relearned the skills, figured out why that person is unable to do as well as that super talented person. You will keep on trying to do better and better and reach a certain level, while the other person who's not so passionate about that will continue to maybe started off at a good level, probably not move much. So that's the difference that I see, and I think passion is the one which will take you places. That would be my 2 cents on it.
Thank you. I hope you are also hiring from us. not to put you in a spot, and if not, please start soon. And I will request Bharti, not only VLFM, you should extend this to, I am PG students as well.
Capgemini hires IM
Yes.
student, but in my business unit, I don't.
Right, okay. So now the last question. So since we came to IM, now how, IM is in Mumbai, as you both know. Of course, I know you're from Delhi and you're Bombay, but you are from Pune. But if largely your operations have connections to Bombay. So how do you see IM Mumbai now, in connecting with the industry more than probably what we have been in? We have a 60 years legacy, of course, and we had the connect. But how do we see us collaborating more, and what is that we additionally can bring in for the industry? That is, what would be your thoughts on that?
If I see, I think I will keep my conversations to VLFM batch, because one of the major things that everybody in the IT industry is struggling with is domain expertise, industry expertise. And I think that is an asset that the students out here have. So my thing will be that you people conceptualize reach industry, your colleagues, your friends, whoever you can, and do some proof of concepts for the industry, how you can, take those small projects and make it better. That will help you build the better industry, academia thing. Rest of the things I think recession is setting up. This 1 year is going to be difficult. 2024, everybody foresees as a difficult year. And that is the time when students should focus on creating value for themselves, creating some additional skills, creating some additional things for themselves. That is, today industry is looking for what research is coming, what thought leadership is coming from an academic institute, and not just from the professors and academic leaders, because we all know the faculty in these institutes is world class. It's easy to get thought leadership from them. What we are looking for is thought leadership from the students, and it doesn't have to be a 1,000-page document. We are probably just looking for small nuggets of 200 words or something, or small video, or small caption. Bring your unique perspectives, small problem, just focus on that.
Thanks.
Right, from my perspective, I feel, there's a lot of opportunity in the industry academia connect, especially in India, right? I think the Rohit Pathak in the earlier session also mentioned that, more can be done. I mean, there's a lot that needs to be done and can be done in this space, right? I think as of now, industry is in one pocket and academia is in another pocket. How do we bridge that gap? From students and academia perspective, again, like I mentioned, there's no better time than now. There's an inflection point, especially in India, right? There's technology just sitting there, right? We need to try and bring in fresh thoughts on how we can reinvent ourselves, right? And, once those thoughts, ideas come in, then, one can figure out, how long it takes to change, what is the route, etc. And that's another story. But bringing in this, fresh eyes view of how, we as an industry, company, etc., can start reinventing ourselves, given everything that's around us right now, all the ingredients are around us, right? So those are the things that probably, one can actually start leveraging and starting. So, I mean, starting a conversation or starting a, joint engagement with academia and industry, I think is the need of the hour, just sitting there for us.
Yeah, I think that mindset has been there all around the world. We don't see that so much. Means this more piecemeal kind of relationship that we have been having, but more integrated or long-term kind of relationship is what probably we should be looking for. And I hope this kind of conversations are a starting point to that. If I may just add, Rohit, any course of mine, any assignment where the students have to choose a company doesn't, end unless there is Tata Motors. In fact, so much so that I have to tell them ki mat karo Tata Motors, right? But incidentally, every year they will bring a different aspect of Tata Motors, and it's a great learning. So I thought I would tell you that.
Thank you so much.
So, indirectly you are contributing, a lot to our earning process. Now, I would thank both of you at this point. So we'll come to the students in a moment's time. But I would like to hand the session over to our organization.
Thank you, ma'am. It's our privilege to have here with us our director, Professor Manoj Kumar Tiwari, for this session. Professor Tiwari has an indelible mark on the institution, transforming it from NITI to its current prestigious status as IIM. Sir is a recipient of Most Influential Researcher Award in the domain of Operations and Supply Chain Management. He has also been awarded the prestigious David F. Baker Distinguished Research Award from the Institute of Industrial and Systems Engineers. We are proud to share that he is the first ever researcher and professional based in India to receive this award, making this an especially significant achievement. Please join me in extending a warm welcome to the Director of the Indian Institute of Management, Mumbai, the visionary leader, Professor Manoj Kumar Tiwari. Sir, I would like to request you to please come to the stage.
Sir, may I request you to say?
First of all, on behalf of entire IIM fraternity, and also the VLFM Partner Institute, IIT Delhi, and we extend our heartiest welcome and warm welcome to Rohit Mantri ji and also Madam Bharti Goyal ji. See, listening to the points that both the speakers were pointing out, they are all most crucial and important in the current prospects of the industry, particularly for what the newer inventions and newer innovations are taking place. Listening to both, say, Tata Motors is well known for top-class vehicles, particularly Indian design vehicles, where most of our brains have been used to meet the conditions, road conditions, freight conditions, and also the different market which we are having in our country. And Capgemini, you see, they are the best known partners for digital transformations. And the kind of things which are happening in the world, like Madam has used generative AI, they have used large language models, and how the transformer and generator both are being used now to build up the new generations of problem-solving tools. Say, recently I was going through a text where how the resiliency can easily be captured using the large language models. And you know transformer for what? Transformer is always used for step up and step down of the voltage. Generator is used for what? One form of energy converts to the another form of energy. So both the organizations, they are doing this type of job. So digital transformation relates to transformer. Tata Motors, they can easily have different form of energy, mechanical energy, fuel energy, chemical energy, and they are now going for electrical energy also, if I am not wrong, with the help of their machines. So perfect combinations they are representing, and I hope that the kind of environment we are creating, academic environment as well as the practical field environment where you are going for different kind of intensive, and also having seen the industry very closely, I think you are the best bet to lead and support the organizations for moving to the next level of transformation, which can best fit to the industry both in practical sense also, as well as in the bringing modernity and standardized form of technology adoption which are there in the world. So with this particular note, once again on behalf of all of you, and I feel so touched that they have been here and giving their very vital experience sharing sessions with you, and undoubtedly you have certainly enjoyed it, and certainly Poonam is always adding so many dimensions to discussions, as if that she has seen all these things so closely and bringing it more live sessions. So thank you to all of you, and once again my regards and respect to the speakers who are here from Tata Motors and Capgemini. Thank you.
Thank you for your valuable insights, sir. Now, I would request our director to please felicitate our guests, Ms. Bharti Goel and Mr. Rohit Mantri. Thank you, sir. Now we can open for questions.
Thank you, sir. So now we are back again. And now I'd like to open the forum for some questions. Hope we have some interesting questions for you. Over to the audience.
Look here, the current digital world is always talking about generative AI, in which very important component is BERT, B-E-R-T. That is bidirectional encoder representation transformers, correct? So if bidirectional is not there, then you cannot lead the transformation. So ask some questions so that we can answer it, okay?
So, I'm Bhanu, and my question to all of you is, like, digital transformation takes a lot of years, and also it takes a lot of finance, and it generally you don't get a ROI quickly. So how to convince the senior leadership team for pursuing that project?
So typically any digital transformation project has to pay for itself, okay? When we are talking to any of the CXOs, they come to us for a digital transformation with a purpose, you know, like for example, if I want to reduce the instances of half truckload and I want to move to full truckload scenario, that itself will create a lot of optimizations and efficiencies for themselves. I'm taking a very, very minuscule example. In reality, it is far more complex. And then we club 5 to 6 such scenarios. That is the starting point of any digital transformation. What is the KPI that you are going to change? And these KPIs come from your balance sheet. These KPIs come from your annual statements, you know, your I can tell you our variable pay salaries, they get paid because of these KPIs. So when some client comes to us with this kind of scenario, we try to work with them and see how much that truckload change in itself will contribute to your savings, you know, in transportation cost or efficiencies, or how much delay will it cause if you move, because then waiting time of the fulfillment may increase and all that. So based on that complete analysis, we decide, okay, this much is the saving and the project cannot be more than the cost of that savings. That is the analytics that every LOB function head does before they go for such a project, right? And once you have a business case, then I think organizations these days are very entrepreneurial. You don't really need approvals. You know, I am the business head. I know that I am bringing these savings. I only make a case. I only bring it in that, okay, in my team, this project will be initiated, and it is more like information going to the top rather than an approval, ask for approval going to the top. These days, it's like this, simple. Have a business case, go ahead, do it. And you will be the ones who will be making these business cases. You know, you have learned all this stuff.
Right, a couple of points from my side. You know, any digital transformation or anything or any initiative has to pay for itself. It should give benefit, right? You're not just occupying yourself. Anything, not just digital. So idea is obviously either in a tangible way or intangible way. One should be clear that you are getting some benefit out of it. It'll be great to quantify, In certain cases, it is difficult to quantify. So we should not spend more time in trying to quantify something that is difficult to quantify. But as long as everyone is convinced that yes, that we are able to get some outcome, then it actually at least you get the go ahead of sorts. In intangible cases, etc., it's important to pick up right KPIs, parameters, etc., outcomes, and put a milestone to say that in next 12 months, next 18 months, whatever, we have to hit some tangible goal which we are able to assess ourselves to say that have we hit it or not, right? That tells us yes that we are moving in the right direction or not, right? So if I could take a minute for in Tata Motors, we went about trying to digitalize the entire end-to-end value chain of sorts, dealers, our front end, right? Our manufacturing base, our suppliers, etc., all on a single platform now. This is a very large community, right? In the endeavor to do that, now what has happened is a lot of non-value added activity that was happening across this entire chain has disappeared, right? Which means it has released people's time. Can I quantify it in terms of how much saving I have done? Little tricky, because I will have to let go of people if I have to show it on my balance sheet. But I have actually improved their life. Now their mind share is less about punching some numbers, getting some numbers, and more about what I can do for the customer. Because we have connected all this, all the metrics that we are doing are now at only two levels. Either it's pegged to what impact it's doing in the market and customer, or at the company level. There are no functional metrics anywhere. They are only loss trees, right? So this has made sure that now everyone who's kind of in the past probably working in half silos, etc., are now beginning to look at organization level and market customer level. So all these kind of changes and differences kind of happen. These are things slightly difficult to put in tangible terms, but the idea is once we realize that what is this thing benefit and the right people are clear, try and make it as quantifiable as possible, but don't get distracted by the quantification.
Hello, sir. So my question is to Rohit, sir. Sir, Tata Motors is a market leader in EV enterprise, EV vehicles, passenger vehicles specifically. I want to ask what specifically Tata Motors is doing so as to increase the volume of the electric passenger vehicles sold in India, because there are not enough charging stations available on roads. So some part has to be played by government and some part to be the company that is selling those vehicles. So do you have a specific business plan in that context?
Yeah, I'll try and answer as best. I mean, I'm not having all the answers because I'm not part of that, directly part of that organization. But if you have realized that Tata Motors has been one of the chief proponents of bringing electric into India, right? We are the guys who have started, making sure that this market starts getting created. In terms of creation, there's supply of products, there's creation of infrastructure, right? When we are saying creation of extra infrastructure, a major portion is getting these charging stations in the right spaces, right? So we have partnered with, the good part about Tata Motors is that it's part of Tata Group. And in Tata Group, we've got a lot of other companies who can kind of support each other. We have partnered with Tata Power, who is helping in putting this infrastructure. So we kind of use analytics, etc., to see what kind of patterns of movement is there in terms of passenger transport, in which highways, roads, lanes, etc., and we try and see whether there are enough charging stations there. Inform the Tata Power, they will put stuff there. Also trying to leverage whatever help we can get with the government, liaisoning with the government to try and see what can happen. So the idea is that there are many things that are happening, right? Including bringing cost of that particular product down, right? As we are speaking, we are setting up a battery plant, right? So all those things are in a sense helping remove the obstacles for better adoption of electric vehicles as we are going forward. whole host of things in that direction would be my answer.
So one last question.
Yeah, good afternoon, sir. My name is Sumit Palunj. My question is to Rohit sir and Bharti ma'am. That with the advent of generative AI, particularly with respect to the manufacturing sector, it is pretty much sure that it would lead to the manpower reduction into the factories. Okay, India is at a very sweet spot of demographic dividend, wherein we have the largest, youngest population in the world. So what we can do to avoid this demographic dividend not to be turned into demographic disaster?
See, first of all, this is a myth that generative AI will take away jobs. You know, it will only change the skill set requirement, the way, and our institutions and so first thing is, nobody has to fear. There are no jobs which are going away. These days, the requirements of optimization, efficiency, accuracy, they are increasing, which is normally not possible. Nano kind of scenarios are coming, which is naturally not possible with a human intervention. So that is where initially the generative AI and all these things will be assistive colleagues that we will be getting into the industry. And these assistive colleagues will help us do our work better. So there is no job which is going away, it's only making us better and more productive and more efficient. And second thing, as Rohit also mentioned, it's very important that we take away stress from the things, we take away non-productive tasks from the things, we take away something which can increase wastage, because sustainability is very important. So generative AI today is a best use case for the industry to help them in avoiding the wastage like packaging, wastage like aluminum, wire, parts, lost parts, material lying somewhere. So those things are extremely important, and that is where we see that generative AI will start making progress and start working as assistive human assistant. So that's our perspective, at least that's the feelers that we are getting.
Small thing I want to add, actually, if you see the transformation, anything comes up, no? This question always being raised by so many people, no? Who are either very deep thinker or very shallow thinker both. Those who are deep thinker, they feel that something new may come up which may change human being into animal and animal into human being, correct? Someone may think that these technologies, they come and they will replace all this thing. Right from I tell you, when the bullock cart was changed to bus and truck, same question raised. When the ox and farmers and hull and bale changed to tractor, same question came. When this computer technology came, similar thing was being raised. I recall that there were a lot of agitation when railway reservations were given to the tickets already. There were a lot of problems actually. But when people started realizing it requires more computer-savvy person than the previous booking clerk type of things actually. So my view is that each and everything which comes up, this always comes with new skill set, correct? Because we are not yet God, correct? We are trying to mimic God, but we can never become God. So God has created you a unique creature. No one can match you, chinta mat kariye, bahut kaam rahega.
No, I fully agree to you, because when I see industry going for automation, when I see them putting a lot of IT, OT into the systems, right? It's okay. In the paint shop, you go and you automate the paint shop fully well. But then you have eliminated the people from the paint shop, that's okay. But then the automation that you have put into the system, now you need people and engineers who will maintain that automation, that regular maintenance has to be done. So it's just that the skill has moved. You know, people are not painting anymore, but people are maintaining the systems. So if you have seen that movie of Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, in the end they show that in the machine that the father used to put caps to there was a machine that had taken the job of his father. That caps were being automatically put by the machine, but in the end the father became engineer who would be repairing that machine. So every time in the world there'll be jobs for the people who exist on this earth.
Right. So I think in a econometrics language, if I may say, when these automations happen, it just allows you more degrees of freedom to go for higher order thinking, right? So probably, as Sir said, if bullock cart was not there, then one wouldn't think of computer, and if computer was not there, one wouldn't have the time to think of digitization and automation. So we just have more creativity to explore. I think on that note, we would stop here. But before I hand this over to the organizer, I just want to request Bharti, Rohit, and even Renu sitting down. Like, we heard you, and there's a wealth of knowledge that you have. There are a lot of things that your organizations are doing. Please help us to bring it to the classroom through various ways, maybe case studies, maybe you come and give us a talk, maybe we do some work together. As I've been saying, it shouldn't, today should be a beginning, it shouldn't end here. So, and of course, our students, thank you for your patronage till far, and we look forward to it much more now and henceforth. Thank you very much, and thank you, sir. You are always, an icing on the cake whenever you join us. Thank you, and thank you, audiences. Now I hand it over to you.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone, for such an insightful and engaging discussion. We are very grateful to you for taking out time and giving us an opportunity to learn from your experiences. Now, I request my batchmate Akshay to felicitate our moderator with a token of thanks. Thank you, Akshay. Thank you, everyone. With this, we have come to the end of this memorable day. This event would not have rolled out as it did without the constant support of our program coordinator, Professor K.S. Ranjani. Professor K.S. Ranjani is the professor in charge of Alumni Affairs and treasurer for the Alumni Association at IIM Mumbai. She is a chartered accountant, cost accountant, and holds 20 years of diverse experience in corporate, consulting, and academics. I would request our very own Professor Ranjani to come to the stage for a vote of thanks.
On behalf of VLFM 6, on behalf of the core committee comprising of Professor Milinda Karte, Professor Priyanka Verma, myself and Professor Ravindra Gokhale. On behalf of all of us, today I would like to propose the vote of thanks. First I want to thank our director, Professor Manoj Kumar Tiwari, for giving us such an enabling platform, for giving us so much of power, and for basically enlightening, empowering us, guiding us, just saying okay for every little thing that we want to do, allowing us to make mistakes. So that's really what I want to thank him for. Other than the program today, of course, I want to thank Professor Ghosh, who's my counterpart at IIT Delhi, who has flown in all the way from Delhi just so that he can be here with us for the conclave. Thank you so much, Professor Ghosh. I want to thank Mr. Rohit Patak, Ms. Renu Bora, Mr. Rohit Mantri, and Ms. Bharti Goyal for taking out time on a Saturday. It's an extended weekend, so this probably did not let them carry on with their weekend plans, and they all probably started very early in the morning to be with us here today and to give us these really exciting insights and to help us strengthen and deepen our relationship with these organizations and with themselves. I'm quite sure that the audience today are taking back a lot of your wisdom with them, and such sessions really help us understand contemporarily what is going on. I especially want to highlight the very stark difference in the takeaway that Mr. Rohit Patak gave us versus what Renu Bora told us. I mean, she really brought in some very, very different insights on the ground, starting with that illustration of a woman who had adopted a child and wanted a small break to, acclimatize her child. These really tell us how, end of the day, we are all human beings, and it is these challenges that we really grapple with, not the large, terms that we throw around like digitalization or like Industry 4 or 5 or 6 or 7 that we are about to go to. But finally, it is human beings who make the world what it is. And of course, we had such an exciting session in the end, which I thought will be about supply chain, but it was about much more. So thank you so much for bringing in those insights. I want to thank the team inside IIM Mumbai that made this event possible. Professor Purnima Sangle and her team, who have been continuously giving a lot of social media coverage and support for the event. I really want to thank that team. I want to thank the academic office for mapping the students. I don't know if they want to really thank the academic office, but I do want to. And I want to thank all of these students for turning up so sharp and smart, dressed nicely in their business suits, taking their time off on a Saturday morning. And I'm sure you benefited a lot, but we have had a lot of pleasure having you here. Thank you so much, my dear PG students. And students from DGMP. I am really not thanking the VLFM students. I hope you're not expecting me to. You're the host. I'm here representing you. The Shriek office for all the travel arrangements. The estate office for the beautiful decorations that they do every time. The PNC office where our warriors are sitting, Vishal, Suraj and Digambar. I really want to thank the three of them for so silently behind the limelight. They are the ones who make all of this possible. I want to thank all the staff who just chip in so many places, remind me whatever I have forgotten, remind the team what they have forgotten, and so helpfully they come in and help us with all the arrangements. I have, I think, changed the order of thanks, but the gratitude remains in equal part. I want to thank the deans. Professor Vivekanand Khanapuri, who gave the keynote in the first session. Professor Rauf Iqbal, Dean Students Affairs. Professor Shankar Murthy, Dean Academics, and Professor Sumi Jha, Associate Dean Academics, who give us the support for all of these programs. Professor Sangle, who's sitting here with us, Dean of Faculty Affairs. Professor Utpal, he could not be here, but he wanted to be here. And Professor Narkade. I want to thank all the deans. I want to thank all the faculty coordinators who came here today, Professor Sanjeev Verma, Professor Upasna and Professor Poonam Singh, who made the sessions so engaging and lovely for the audience. So I really want to thank them. I want to thank all the faculty colleagues. Seeing the turnout today and seeing, for example, even Bharti's words for VLFM, I know that the VLFM is a very blessed batch. They have the love and affection of a lot of people, and the entire IIM Mumbai and IIT Delhi stands behind you all. So I really want to thank each and every one who has been here today and who has made this event what it is. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am, for always motivating us. Now, as we draw curtains to this event, to keep the memories fresh in our hearts, let's gather for a group photo and call this a day. We'll be taking the photo from here, from the stage, and you all can take your seats. So we can go down.